Thereafter at regular intervals, up to 10. You see the boats getting ready to go. There's a flotilla of them out there. There'll be the referee's boat and plenty of stake boats, of course, medical boats, and it's quite an intricate operation. There's a lot involved, a great deal involved. Right, here we go. Let's go through the lineup for you, one by one, and 201 will be the number for Ariana Valoni, and then it'll be Mafalda Jorge Rosa of Portugal. Should be wearing 202. The Israeli Eva Fabian will have 203. Angela Martinez-Guin will be number 4 for Spain. For Argentina, it's Candela Giordannino. Xin Qin, who is the defending champion for China. And I mentioned her just now, and we'll be talking about a lot over the next couple of days. Sharon Van Rouwendaal of the Netherlands, who's got to be one of the favorites for the 25K tomorrow. Vivian Balogh of Hungary, not surprising, get a good reception from the home fans here. Angelica Andre is for Portugal, 209, and here comes the bronze medalist from the 5, Julia Gabrielesi, 210. It's Vivian Youngblood, who will be 211. Puerto Rico has Alondra Itzalquiez. From Uruguay, it's Maisa Cardoso. Maria Porres is number 214. And you will recognize the next one coming up. That's our champion from the 5K the other day, Anna Marcela Cunha, wearing 215. Second of the Chinese swimmers, it's Sun Jiaqi. Samantha Yeo is 217. Spain have the next swimmer, which is, in fact, it's not Spain at all, is it? Here's Hungary next. Anna Olash is 219. 220, Natwara Bavorn Sukseri of Thailand. Here is the Spanish. I was jumping ahead of myself here. Here's Maria de Valdez, who's 221. Top 10 finished last time round for the German swimmer, Lea Boy. She is 222 this time. Kristina Panchisco from Ukraine, 223. Well, she was the front runner in the 5K the other day for a while and missed out on the medal. Moisha Johnson, 224. Pimpun Chupong is 225. Another of the 5K swimmers the other day, Zenia Romanchuk of Kazakhstan, 226. Jocelyn Bermeo is 227. From Peru, it's Maria Bramont Arias. 229, Park Jung-yi. From Argentina, Romina Soledad Imvakorit. Yumi To of Japan. Be looking forward to next year, I'm sure, in Fukuoka. Australia has the next number and swimmer, 232, Chelsea Gubecka. Naren Berkunaz is 2-2-3. Two, 3-4 is Diana Quiroz of Costa Rica. From Mexico, Martha Sandoval. Two, 3-6, Ashmita Chandra. From Hong Kong, China, it is Nip Zi Yin. She is 2-3-7. 2-3-8, Leonie Beck. Part of that quartet the other day that looked so good in the relay. Lenka Sturbova of the Czech Republic, 2-3-9. 240 is Tang Yu Wen. Ready to come on to the pontoon is Catherine Van Rensburg. She is 2-4-1. Lee Hai Rim, 2-4-2 from Korea. Canadians have a very young team here. Here's the first of their two. Here's Katrina Bellio with 2-4-3. With the longest journey to get here. From New Zealand, Ruby Heath is 2-4-4. 2-4-5 is Liu Li Shan. Second of the Kazakhstan representatives is Dana Tashanova. Paulina Alanis Hernandez from Mexico, 2-4-7. Should have another 15 if everybody turns up. 248 is Amika De Jager. Caroline Juice is 249. Into the 50s now with Sofia Guevara. Maria Bondarenko of Ukraine. They have two representatives in this race. She is number 51 or 251 to give her a full number. From Japan, it's Eri Abina, who you were seeing in the 5K the other day. Second of the Canadians is Abby Dunford, 253. And from Hong Kong, China, Lampak Tung Nikita. Speller Purse from Slovenia will be 255. We have 6 more to introduce to you. 256. 2 Americans are consecutive numbers here. Mariah Denigan is 256. Katie Grimes is 257. Two 5'8", Leandra Torres. And here comes the silver medalist from the 5K. And boy, she got a record in various events. 7 medals at World Championships for Aurelie Muller. Wang Yichen is 260. And last but by certainly no means least, the bronze medalist from 3 years ago, Rachele Bruni. So that is everybody introduced, and I think we got it all in plenty of time too. We are 2.5 minutes away from the start of the 11th 10K at the World Championship. First one was in 2001, so we went through that rather quickly for you. Here's the names of the swimmers you're going to see. But 2001 Fukuoka was the first time it was held, both men's and women's. And of course, it will return there next summer. We're looking forward to that in just over 12 months' time. First winner for the women was Peggy Bush of Germany and Irina Abisova of Russia, Edith van Dijk. They were the first medalists back in Fukuoka. And since then, there's been some big names. Aurelie Muller, for example, has won it twice, 2015 and 2017. Shenzhen is the defending champion. And Britons will remember Kerry-Anne Payne winning it twice. 2009 in Rome, 2001 in Shanghai, and Cassie Patton getting a silver medal in 2007. No British women involved in this. There will be 2 British men later on today in the 10K, but no British women in this one. Well, last time around, it's 1 in 1:54.47, so about an hour and 55's worth of swimming to come. We'll see what happens. We saw in the 5K there was that pack that broke away about midway through the race, and it's about 6 or 7, and about 10 eventually were in the mix. We are underway for the 11th 10K race at the World Championships involving the women. As we mentioned, they won't all go at the same time. 60-odd, it's a lot to get off the pontoon, and some will think, now I'm going to hold my station for just a little bit and wait until I get some clear water, because the problem early on, as they're all together, they are rather bunched up, and this is where the stake boat and the referee will have a bit of work to do, because they will come together very close and out. Going out fast does not necessarily mean you're going to go on and win it, but tactic often is get out nice and early, get out fast, get out way ahead of the pace, and try and make sure there's not too many legs. But as you can see, somebody tries to make a break. All of a sudden, there are swimmers all over them, all on top of them. There are 61 out there. And we'll lose, obviously, quite a few off the back pretty early on. But this is really a quality field. There's a good 6 or 7 who will really fancy their chance of winning this, and probably about 12 or 13 who will really fancy their chance of getting a medal. So we'll wait till this starts to really break up. We expect to see Cunha there, but if she's swimming like she did the other day, she'll be taking her time. Now that looks like the Hungarian. In fact, that's the defender of the 5K title from the other day that we're looking at there, Cunha. And there's Sharon Van Rouwendaal, 2:07. So she's doing the 5, 10, and 25. Not everybody's doing all 3. Some are actually only doing a 10, but she's doing 5, 10, and 25. 25 will start at 7 o'clock local time on Thursday. Right, as we look at the replay of the start, we'll try and capture some numbers for you. That is Eva Fabian, you saw there, from Israel with 2:03, and she's in that pack. But I say a pack, you can already see there's probably about a third of the swimmers who started are all in that group. It looks like, is that the Israeli right at the front, 2:03, Eva Fabian, who's trying to lead them off. Always helps me have a distinctive cap. That's why I like the Australians in the mix, because it's normally they've got a cap that shows. Obviously, they all have numbers on their arms, but when they're submerged in the water, sometimes not easy to say. But it is Eva Fabian of Israel, who is 29 in August. Early part of August, she'll turn 29. You have to have a front runner, you have to have a pace setter in the 10K. It's not always the one who comes out to win, but somebody has to set the tone, and she is doing that with number 2:03. Defending champion Jin Jin is wearing 2:06 on her arm and on her cap. And we're talking about Anna Cunha. has not been her most successful event. She's very good at 5, and actually she's very good at this, but last time around she was 5th. Now she has 6 gold medals, 2 silver medals, and 5 bronze medals from international competition. So, you know, that'd be another one to add after that gold medal. And she'll fancy, because she's doing the 25K as well, she'll fancy going through the card. But Eva Fabian it is, of Israel, who'll set the pace, and is setting the pace early on. Now, for her to go on and win it would be a surprise, because she's not one of the swimmers who's really ranked to do it. And there's the Spaniard coming through alongside. And one of the Germans, that Leah boy, alongside her. Just checking on the German number, because they've got 2. They've got Leonie Beck, and they've also got Boy as well. So 4.5 minutes gone in the 10K. Hungarian at the back is Portuguese in there as well. Angelica Andre just showing. And as I mentioned, the distinctive cap of the Australian just a little bit further back. So this is just getting things in motion, and 3 of them going now, but the early pace being set by Eva Fabian. And at this point, as he has just joined me, the multi-talented Mike Lewis, photographer, open water expert, and everything else. Mike, good morning to you, sir.
Good morning, Bob. Yeah, this is an interesting start to the race. Eva Fabian, who for several years had competed for the United States as one of the top open water swimmers, national team members, now representing Israel right there in the top of the pack. You know, as they round this buoy. One of the things we're watching is around the buoy, and you can see how tight the field is, which is fairly expected at this point in the game, because, you know, they're just sort of settling into this. It's not going to be like the 10K, or excuse me, the 5K, where, you know, it's really an all-out go, and we start to see the pack sort of spread out like a spaghetti noodle. This tight pack indicates a pace that is, you know, extremely manageable, and of course, as they're navigating the buoy, the swimmers coming in on the inside have an advantage, mathematical advantage there in terms of distance. But at this stage in the game, everybody's just sort of settling into their pace. They're certainly, you know, not trying to make it a breakaway. You know, this is a veteran crew, of course, and you know, keeping your energy conserved as you go through. Keep an eye on how much they incorporate their legs. Bringing in your legs is an indicator of how much energy you're expending. So these are things we're watching in the race. It's a really similar, if you haven't watched open water before, but you have watched road cycling, there's a lot of the same dynamics at play in terms of drafting, in terms of strategies, potential breakaways. So that's what we're going to be keeping an eye on, Bob, as we work through this event. We're going to keep an eye on when these breakaways happen, and we're going to see if groups start to differentiate themselves as we go through the race.
Mike, let's talk about conditions out there. Now, you'll have talked to quite a few of the swimmers, no doubt the coaches and the people involved in this. What are they saying about the course?
Well, it's a really nice course. Obviously, on a lake like this, you know, we don't have any chop. It's not in a river or the ocean where we would have to encounter any currents. You know, the temperatures are warm. It's going to be much warmer for the men's race, but very manageable at this stage. Water temperature is reasonable. But they generally, it's a course that people tend to like. This is a good one, and like I said, for the women, it's certainly going to be a better temperature advantage.
Let's talk about the winner from the 5K the other day, Anna Cunha. Now, she's had actually better results in 5 and 25 than she has 10. Is there any particular reason why that should be the case?
Not that I can hypothesize. I think that she is just a phenomenal open water swimmer. She has made her mark year over year over year. She is a stalwart in open water swimming, and just truly there's a lot of reverence for her amongst her fellow competitors, and particularly myself. I just really like to watch her race.
Oh, she's fantastic the other day. So let's look at how this one's developing. You mentioned Fabienne at the front. Gabrielle from the other day, bronze medalist, she's decided this time around, she seems to be swimming this slightly different to the 5K, where she came at the back end. She's looking like she wants to go out early this time. Slight change in strategy, maybe.
Maybe that is certainly something that she may have learned that coming from the back in the 5K wasn't necessarily the best play for her, although it was. But she may have learned something that said, hey, I want to incorporate something a little different. There's also this sort of breaking your competitors. We saw Paltrinieri do it in the 1500, and of course he sustained it throughout the entire race. But in in open water, that's certainly something you're seeing.
Talk about our defending champion, Jinjin, who's right up. She's fourth at the first time check.
Yeah, she is, again, just a really beautiful swimmer out there. We can see as we're watching the feed here from the boat that, the pace that they're setting, they're really swimming smooth, and she is certainly one of them. And, of course, there's just so much excitement to see that could potentially pop out of this. Again, this gives us an idea of what the sort of the general pace is. That's a pretty large group. Yeah, we're still very early in the race. We haven't even completed the first lap yet, but there's so much that can be done, whether you're coming from the back or you're in the beginning. There's so much time. That's what I love about watching open water. The
relay was faster than 3 years ago. The 5K was faster than 3 years ago. Are you expecting this to be a bit quicker?
History or past performance is a great indicator of future performance, so I would not be surprised at all. But again, we're gonna see. I mean, they are moving at a good clip. We're gonna have a good idea to see how this. You can see right now that pack is sort of triangular pack there. That's again a large pack, but they have broken away from parts of the field undoubtedly. So.
And what we saw quite a bit in the men's race in particular is sometimes you change your strategy. We saw particularly from the Italian the other day that he was on the left of the German and then went, this is not quite working for me, and then he switched to the right and then he went behind him. And that's one thing obviously you can't do in pool swimming. We were talking about two pool swimmers here, but who've adapted to open water. It's learning those kind of tactics, isn't it? No, actually being on the left's not working for me. I'm not getting a good look. I'm going to go on the right, and they kind of change things around as the race goes on. Well,
yeah, undoubtedly about the buoys. That's one of the things where we're being on the inside. These are all left-hand turns, so you're moving with your left shoulder through the buoys, and of course being on the left gives you an advantage, but that pinch can drive you crazy. And for those of you who've swam in pools and swam competitively, Now let's watch here as we go through the feed station. It's unlikely that anyone will take a feed this early in the game. But you want to be prepared for them. So as you watch everybody move through with the sticks out, okay, somebody did drop the feed. I don't know who that was. That may have been Eva Fabian, but she again, that goes back to my experience watching her. She is so good at that feed. That's a technical move right there.
Well, I want to talk to you about that because we didn't really see that in the 5K, and we'll see it in the 10. Obviously, you'll see it a lot in the 25. That is an art form in itself, is it not? Trying to pass on the drinks to your swimmer and them knowing where you are as well.
Oh, without a question. So, that feed station move is, it's a dance of sorts between the coach who's doing the feeding and the swimmer in the water. On this dock, one of the advantages is they can know their positions. So they know their positions prior to standing out there, and they can technically or tactically talk about that. So that's something to see. But we're definitely going to see a lot more as we come through on the second feed.
Leah Boy up there now with Fabian. She was top 10 last time round, so we expect her to be in the mix, don't we, this time?
Oh, yes, of course. And, the Germans have shown their prowess in open water swimming for years now, and so not to be surprised.
What makes them so good, though? I mean, you see other nations. I mean, I talked about GB. GB for years with Kerry-Ann Payne, Cassie Patton had medals. GB do not have a female here, but Germany seems to produce not just men but women too on a regular basis.
Right. That is what makes good open water swimming is a commitment to distance swimming, and of course the majority of this training is done in pools. So in order to swim this fast, This is the equivalent, for those of you who know swimming and swim in 50-meter pools, this is the equivalent of 100 100s. So wrap your mind around that. That's a sort of a classic test set.
That's the training they do, isn't it? Pretty much, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so to go this far, this long, that is truly amazing. So it takes a level of commitment to distance swimming and then turning it towards open water. It's something that's a bit different, of course.
Marcela Cunha moving into a position just behind that top two. She was bronze medalist last time running. And again, same kind of question, really. The Germans are very proficient at this. The Italians, they've got a lot of people who have converted from pool swimming to open water swimming. How much of an adjustment is that?
Well, let's put it this way. For a distance swimmer, it's certainly a manageable adjustment. It's not like a radical shift of gears. But it does take that desire. We're taking the longest pool event and multiplying it over 6 times.
So let's look at the front back, and there are the chasers just behind. Let's see what Cunha does in terms of hers, but we're seeing that's the front two that we're looking at. The chasing pack will contain, I'm sure, Cunha. In fact, at the last time check, it had Youngblood up there as well. It's also had Gabrieleschi. We mentioned her. And Cunha was 7th at the last time check. We'll get another one at 1.5, but it's 0.8. Youngblood was right up there. Gabrieleschi, US of France, Boy, Fabian, Cunha, Rosa of Portugal, Leonie Beck, so the 2 Germans in the top 10. Gobecker of Australia in there too, and they were separated by just 5 seconds when we got to 0.8, but there's a long, long way to go. It's going to be 1.5 next time. Now tell me a bit about you, Mike, because we've barely got a chance to introduce you. I say, in addition to providing the words for me today, you're taking some pictures as well. What are the conditions like for that?
Oh, for a photographer, this is a fantastic event to shoot. Open water swimming is a blast to shoot. And I've had the good fortune of being able to shoot it from both in the water and from the dock and at the finish. Shooting in the water is, of course, on a hot day, it feels good, not going to lie, but it's also a beautiful perspective. We do have a water marshal out there with us that controls our positions, but we can get really nice from the start and from the buoys. So this is a great place to take up photography.
Where would you rather watch the race from, out on the boat or out here?
Of course, on the boat, you can see every little bit. You can hear the sounds. It's sort of like sitting close at a basketball game. You can hear the sneakers as they're squeaking on the court. You can hear kind of the grunts of the swimmers as they're moving through the buoys and so forth. So I'll take the boat.
Well, let's look at this front pack now. We can see the Spaniard now moving through. That's Martinez, who has gone to the front of the field. And Vivian Youngblood is actually the top Brazilian at the moment. Gabrieleschi is in there, and they'll go around. What do you call it? You call it the buoy. I call it
the buoy.
Buoy.
And watch the action. There's so much interesting action. Now, as a photographer, that's a great shot right there. And so that's, again, shooting from the boat. Sometimes you can get that. But I just think the dynamics of the buoy and what happens around there, that's where you really got to keep your head cool. That's something in open water that is super important, because that being tapped on the feet, being hit on the shoulder, we talked earlier about that inside-outside position and what was more advantageous. You really got to keep it together as you're exerting, of course, throughout the course of the race. But I'll tell you, you don't want to get a major infraction out there and get booted out of the race.
No, we saw one yellow card for the Italian the other day, but I mean, I don't know how the referee keeps across 61 swimmers, because that's virtually impossible, isn't it, to be giving yellow cards and red cards? Or red flags, I should say.
Well, yeah, of course, we have a couple of boats out there that differentiate them, but the lead boat, it is. I mean, it's difficult to see, but you can, and they're not going to get every one, of course, right? It's sort of like water polo. You're not going to get every infraction out there. But look at that pack right now. It's a great shot from the drone. That just shows you the pace right now. This is it's sort of chill right now.
That's a big group too for this stage of the race.
Yeah, this is a big. So that tells you that they're not going out there and trying to crush it right now. Nobody has, and that's to be expected. Here we're coming up on 1,500. This is lap 1 of 6.
So Leia Boy is up there wearing 2:22. The Spaniard Martinez as well. She's got 2:04. And we're seeing, so the German doing well, and the Israeli, formerly American. Why did she choose Israel over the States?
I'm not sure. I didn't talk to her about that. I just really, truly don't have action. I just even don't want to speculate.
Okay.
But it's great to see her. I mean, she's been around open water swimming for a long time, and she's a great human, really, really nice woman. And it's just great to see her out here. And I know she has a lot of respect from her fellow competitors.
I'm looking down the pack looking for Orly Muller because she was silver medalist the other day and silver in the 5K last time round. And I mean, we've talked a lot about Cunha, but she has a record, doesn't she? In terms of medals, she has so many now. She has 3 golds, 4 silvers. She hasn't got a bronze yet, but she's got 7 international medals.
I know. Isn't that impressive? That's basically what you can say. But you look at that lead pack from this drone shot, and anybody is in. You know, those last 3 are maybe kind of getting a little bit dodgy in terms of their ability to hold on. But there's an energy in that pack too. That's the other thing. There's some energy there, and you want to keep with that energy. Let alone the fact that you've got the ability to sort of draft off your fellow competitors. And again, to talk about drafting, and we'll see this be probably much better examples later in the race. But you kind of want to be in the hip pocket. A lot of people think be on the toes, but no, actually you want to be in that hip pocket. That's a sweet spot for drafting.
Talking of toes, I want to come on to that in just a moment. I'm just going to give you a little refresher of how it was when we got last time check. It was Martinez from Youngblood, then Gabrieleschi, then Juiz, then it was Boy, then Fabian, Cunha's in there, Rosa. I was talking about Muller. She's 14th, or was 14th at the last time check. What I was watching in the 5K, and it would irritate me like hell as they come past us by. We get a good look now from the shore side, so we can actually see them physically coming past us now. So before I pursue that thought, what are you seeing from your vantage point?
Well, what I see is, kind of watching the feed. It looks like the Australian's going to pull over there. I'm kind of going out on a limb here because I'm looking at the color of the cap. But we're sort of watching and seeing who took. Oh, look there, Fabian took another feed. So she's taking feeds at 1-2. But yeah, we're actually seeing some feeds. Not as many as we'll see later in the race, but of course that's kind of the dynamic there. Of course, you take off into the feed, and it's a decision you have to make because, look, they have to get back into the course. But see, the reason why you may decide to take a feed is kind of say, hey, strategically, nobody's trying to break out right now. There's no breakaway. The group's together. So I'm really not taking that big of a risk at a feed.
And interesting, you see some swimmers take a feed on their front. Some go onto their backs, don't they, for a little while to take a feed?
Yeah, absolutely. So, some don't take it right away, but, taking it on your back it's just easier. You just float over and then take in the fluid.
Right, so one of the big differences from pool swimming to open water swimming is in pool swimming, you don't have somebody on your feet all the time. And I was watching the situation with the top 2 the other day, and I'm thinking, if I was an open water swimmer, the last thing I want is to have somebody's hands on my feet all the time. And it's the major irritant, isn't it? That's the worst thing about front running, is the fact that you may just have somebody just tapping at your feet all the time.
Oh, it's maddening. And having grown up since I was a little kid, that in the pool is just, when you're doing these, when you're a little kid or even as you go along and you find the number 2 person come up and they start getting on your feet, or you come through the turn, you're just you're going, ugh. And so that's the thing in open water. It is maddening, and that's what I talked about, because as you're putting out this much energy and you're really going for it, you get frustrated. You're human. That's what happens. But you've got to contain that, because you just don't want to, turn and sort of take it out with a inadvertent kind of swipe back and say, getting off me, But here we're seeing a nice slow-mo shot of kind of a little bit of the wrap up there, and Fabian coming in for the feed. That's real beautiful.
So De Valdez, then Fabian, then is Boy, then it's Cunha, then it's Gabrieleschi. This was the last time check. Joint 5th, Gabrieleschi with Gubecker of Australia. Then Aurelie Muller is now moving up. She's moving up to 7th. Bukanaz of Turkey and Olash, the local swimmer from Hungary, is in 9th. We're looking for the defending champion as well. She's 13th at the moment. And then she is, well, she's 7 seconds back, so it is no margin at all at 1.5, is it?
No, not at all. But we are seeing, now you look at that pack, I can just tell you, they're kicking it up a bit. So again, to be expected now, we're gonna kind of see some of the strategies playing out. But the rate has definitely picked up a bit. But again, this is a great example. I talked about the legs. Look at the very, very little legs. You don't want to bring in the legs at all. In fact, we've seen so many of these things really come down to 50 meters sprint.
Like the end of a 1500, isn't it? Basically, you do 1400 with no legs, and the last 100 you go for broke, right?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
Well, it's looking pretty good at the moment, but it's looking like it's a very congested one because the top 15 were separated by just 9 seconds. Top 15, 9 seconds separated.
That'll be a fun one for us to keep our pulse on. The fact, watch that differential as we move through the various time stations.
Mindset of a swimmer in this race, do they break it down like maybe a pool swimmer does, right? Here's my 100, here's my 100. Do they break it down in 1.5 sectors, or does it not quite work like that?
Yeah, basically. I mean, you are, absolutely. You're doing a lot of things out there. You're kind of keeping it together. You might be singing songs to yourself. You might have this loop.
Do they talk to each other? I mean, I saw the two Italians next to each other the other day, and I did speculate as to whether they're having a conversation or not.
If it is, it's going to be a fast one, and it might be two teammates talking about, okay, you take it now. Okay. Because, again, working in tandem is, again, a really advantage. If you can pair, if a country can pair two athletes and they are working together in tandem, that can be a strategy. So they may have been talking a little bit of that.
And they'll talk about stuff before they go into the water. If it's not quite working out, they must have strategy 2, 3, and 4 if that doesn't happen.
Right, absolutely. Yeah, you've got to have a bunch in your quiver. You've got to have, maybe down to plan D. Oh, yeah, but here we go. So we're looking at, just sort of 5 across, just sort of working side by side. And it's something else we can mention out here that's interesting is on the inside there.
That's Youngblood, by the way. That is not Cunha.
Okay.
Just keep an eye for Cunha, but that's the second of Brazilians, and she was, I think, just ahead. No, Cunha's 4th, or was 4th at the last time check. Gabriela, she was 5th. Gubeka, 6th. So the two Brazilians doing particularly well, but De Valdez is looking very strong at the front. The two Germans are looking incredibly strong. Leia Boy, we mentioned top 10 last time, and they'll be worried with Aurelie Muller around that the kind of form she showed the other day. She's going to be there or thereabouts.
Yeah, another legend. I tell you, just staying power and have been with the sport. Someone that really has helped progress this sport, both in her country and internationally. But it's interesting to see how that pack kind of bifurcated for a bit, and now they're coming back together. A lot of that is a function of sighting. The buoys look massive, from where we sit. But when you get down in the water, they're sort of like jelly beans. And so a lot of times what you're trying to do, and this one thing this course doesn't really have, I haven't seen the backside, but sometimes you can pick a point on the horizon that's really big, a pier or mountain.
How much do they give? You know what I mean? Are they spongy, or are they quite firm, or what? When they go around?
Oh, they give. They're very, there's air in those buoys, so they are spongy. They're not hitting them, and they're not hard.
That looks like the beginning of a January sale, the way they're going around there. It looks like the doors are just open and everybody's flying in. Right.
As we see this pack kind of, now the pace is sort of slowed a bit. See how we see this dynamic of it opens up, it kind of turns into this sort of amorphous sort of a blob that becomes wider and wider. Those are indicators of pace.
Now, a defending champion looks to me to be in a bit of trouble. Now, I did say she wasn't too far back. I think that showed 28th on that graphic as she went through. I'm just checking that, but she looks to be a long way back.
Yeah, that's interesting to see. Were you able to see a time differential there?
I'm gonna try and get it. We're just trying to refresh our computer, which is just playing up a little bit. She is 29th, in fact. So 26.59 for her, the leader. 26.47, so it's 12 seconds. It is getting more, though. The gap between the front pack and her is starting to extend a bit.
Yeah, absolutely. But 12 seconds, it is doable. It's hard to get too predictive, and
if you've got a lot of swimmers to get through, that's got to make it more difficult for you, surely.
Without question. So if you have to move your way to that pack, that's where earlier you asked me about inside-outside position. And, of course, moving on the outside as opposed to moving on the inside through a pack that's where you want to be.
So whistles from the boat because, well, there we go, separate now. What is the ideal separation between two swimmers? What is the referee looking for?
He's looking for people on top of each other. And so, shoulder to shoulder is fine. But once you start to see, some incidental contact in the arms, I can't say people really go out there with sort of an intent. But that's what the referees are looking for are we seeing just too much touching out there?
Well, we're going to see later on today one of the British swimmers in the 10K, Hector Pardo, when he did the Olympics in Tokyo last year, got a broken eye socket.
Yeah.
He had to retire because he got a broken eye socket.
Yeah, that was really tragic. Again, that's one of the liabilities of open water swimming, without question.
Is the women's more demure, more restrained, or is it equally as physical?
I think it's equally as physical. These are, regardless of gender, these are just amazing, high caliber swimmers, and they're going for it. So I wouldn't put a differential in there.
Looking at that drone shot we just saw, now in the 5K we had a breakaway of about 5 to 10 swimmers and it never really changed. But this one is a massive pack.
It is a massive pack. I kind of would have expected a little bit more of a differentiation starting to occur. We'll come up here in, where are we now? We're probably around 10 minutes or so from the 3K mark. And
yeah, 2.5K is the next time check on that one.
On the full lap, but that'll be the point at which I'll start to kind of go, okay, that's when I'd expect it to differentiate a bit. But yeah,
I'm trying to work out. So we're talking about maybe 50 meters between the front and the back there. Not much more than that.
Yeah, I'm just trying to look on the horizon to see if I can get, but yeah, not much more than that. The time, of course, the time differential will give us an indicator of that as well.
So at the last 2.1, we'll get a 2.5 check, which is coming up pretty soon. It is Youngblood of Brazil. Then it's Olash of Hungary has moved right up there. Cunha is there. Bruni is there. Boy of Germany. Balok of Hungary. Van Rouwendaal, who does 5, who does 10, who does 25.
Right.
As indeed does Cunha. But, and again, kind of preparing for those. A bit more speed in 5, the middle ground of 10, and the endurance of 25. How do you pitch that?
It's the 25 that really gets me. I mean, that is one where you just go, that is a lot of swimming, and it's done at this level very quickly.
Right, here comes the latest time check, and it's Aurelie Muller, who's now, according to the screen in front of me, has half a second lead. That's all it is over Bruni of Italy. Then Andre of Portugal's moved up. So we are getting a shake-up in the top 10 here. Cunha is now back in 9th. But if I tell you, there's only 3 seconds separating 1 and 10. It tells you how tight that is. And you can see it for yourself visibly there. There's a little mini pack, and then there's a big pack. And it's probably about, say, 50 meters from front to back there. But Muller leads at the quarterway stage. Bruni is second, Andre of Portugal, then Boy of Germany, Gabriel Aschi of Italy, Youngblood of Brazil, then Rosa of Portugal, Becker of Australia, Cunha of Brazil, Beck of Germany, Ubina Japan. That's your top 11. Top 12. Hello. Is that coach shouting? It is, isn't it? It's not the referee shouting. This is the feeding station.
That's the outside feeding station. We have 2 feeding stations. So, yeah, I thought for a second, too, that might have been a referee call out there. Yeah, I'm not going to be surprised. I think this might be a mini this mini pack may be turned into something.
Yeah, well, let's see. But it is changing all the time, though. I mean, I mentioned Muller was right there. Muller's now gone to the front. She's probably thinking, okay, well, maybe I need to dictate things here. But you can see Bruni is there right alongside her as well. And is that the Australian cap moving through?
Yeah, it looks as though it is.
So that will be Gubecka. And not actually the Australian I thought it was going to be, to be fair, because we had a front runner from Australia the other day, and it wasn't her. So that's a bit of a change in fortune from the 5K.
It is. Just kind of interesting to see how these dynamics play out amongst the teams.
And we're looking at the Hungarian now, who's having a particularly good swim.
Yeah, look at that stroke rate. That's an indicator. She's taking a hit at it now. It's going to be interesting to see. I look forward to an overhead shot that'll give us an indicator to see what we got going here. But it looks like she's making a go of it.
Okay, so the top 20 are separated by 11 seconds.
Okay.
There you go. Top 20. So I'll just move the computer screen down. Yeah, top 20.
So we got about 20 meters.
Seconds.
About 20 meters there.
Yeah. And visibly, you can see right now, nothing much has changed. Obviously, they also ran, but we started with 61. We've probably got 25 in that pack. So I've got to say, from my experience of doing 10Ks, that is the most congested, the most bunched I think I've ever seen it at this stage.
Me too.
Mike's going to leave us to go and take some more photos. We'll catch up with him later. Thank you, Mike, for your time for the time being, and we'll catch him a little later on. Good work from Mike, just to give us an insight of what's happening out there. I'll keep you across the race now, and it's looking like, well, any number of swimmers could be right up there. They really could. And the Hungarian Balog is looking particularly good at this stage, and she's trying to make things. That's Olash, I beg your pardon. That's Olash who's doing that, number 19. And Olash is the one who's moved through. She wasn't actually on my screen at that stage, but she is now. In fact, on this. In fact, I don't think. In fact, it didn't. Her transponder did not set the timer off last time. But just look at that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The two Americans are in there, and it's almost like they're in a pool race. They are side by side. So let's give you that little refresh again at 2.5K. Aurelie Muller was in there, then Bruni, and then Andre of Portugal, Boy of Germany, Gabrieleschi, Italy, Youngblood of Brazil, Rosa of Portugal, Gubecka of Australia, the other Brazilian, and expected to be right in the mix, Cunha, but she's not having her own way yet, but there's a long way still to go. Beck of Germany is 10th. Ibina is 11th from Japan. Then Fabian, the early leader, is back at 12th. Birkenas of Turkey. Then Sharon Van Rouwendaal of the Netherlands. Sun of China. De Valdez. These are all separated, as I was mentioning with Mike just now, by less than 10. In fact, if I go down the screen a bit more, top 36 are only separated by 15, so this is bunched, which may not work particularly well for the more experienced and better swimmers, because they are not getting any clear water. But certainly, Olash is at the moment, and she's looking particularly good. That's the first of the Australians, Chelsea Gubecka. Swimming alongside her, first of the Brazilians, Vivian Youngblood. And both clocked the Portuguese and the German 31:21 at that last time. Muller was our leader according to the stats, but things are starting just to change. That pack is not getting much smaller though. And Gubecka at the front with the Brazilian. "37 minutes gone in the 10K race, and around, I'm going to call it the boy, because that's what I'm used to calling it, the buoy, as Mike calls it. I like that. Maybe we should start calling it the buoy, but to us, it's the boy. And here she comes. I like that. That's quite sweet. Hungarian coming around for, and a bit of a clatter for a couple of the swimmers coming off that buoy. Of course, it does move. Fortunately, it's not a solid structure, but they were bouncing a little bit off it. So, Olash at the front. The Hungarian ploughing that lone furrow. As I mentioned, that was 2.5K. And next check will be, but without reiterating too much what I've been saying, there are a good 20-25 swimmers in that pack who are still very much in the mix. So let's look and try and pick out some names for you who have pedigree in this. Well, pretty much all of them do, to be honest. Muller does, Bruni does, Gabrieleschi, we mentioned, was the bronze medalist the other day. Gubecka will try and do some things for Australia. Cunha was 9th at the last time check, but this keeps refreshing all the time when they come past the time check. Leonie Beck is in there. Fabian, our early leader, is in 12th, but she's not far back either. Van Rouwendaal, De Valdez, who was leading for a while, the Spanish swimmer, is in 16th place. So 3.2K is where we'll get another time check. So that will be virtually the third of the race completed. So this will give us maybe a bit more of an indicator as start to move through. One of the Canadians is in that bunch as well. You can see Martinez of Spain closest to the camera with 2:04. Just trying to check which of the Canadians that is in the middle of the pack. Can't see her arm at the moment, but it's definitely the Spaniard because she's just blocking 2:53, I think is what I just saw. 2:53 is Abby Dunford. Abby Dunford of Canada is in that mix. Right, this will be another time check for us at 3.2K. Here come the leaders. Let's see what little wristbands tell us as they come in front of us. See Brazilian flags waving all over the place. Well, they've not just got one swimmer to get excited about, they've got two in this one. The stake boat's coming past, the referee's boat coming past us, the little canoes that accompany the swimmers in case they get into a lot of trouble. There's 1, 2, 3 canoes I can see. Drone is overhead, providing you with the pictures, and some very good ones you're getting too from overhead. But they're coming past the finish point, past the pontoon. That also means there will be a feeding station. Let's see how many of the swimmers actually go for a feed, because a third of the way round might be time for a little bit of sustenance as it gets a little bit warmer out there. And this will be another time check to see who is where and who is doing what at this stage. And it's happening so quickly, the computer's refreshing, showing you Olash, as we mentioned, is our leader for Hungary. And second place is Cunha now. Gubecka in third, Gabrieleschi 4, Jungblut in 5, Andre of Portugal, then Muller of France, De Valdez of Spain, Bruni of Italy, Ibina of Japan. The first swimmer and the 10th swimmer separated by 5 seconds now. Then Leo Boy, Ballock, Johnson is moving up, the second of the Australians. Computer's just throwing a bit of wobbly, so we'll keep an eye on Olash at the front now. Again, we were talking with Mike about people's different ways they want to swim this. Well, she is thinking, well, the best way is try and get a bit of clear water. Cunha is right there, as we expect her to be. Gubecka is the first of the 2 Australians, and Gabrieleschi. Brazil have 2 in the top 5 now, but our defending champion is, I think, in a lot of trouble here. She's 26th, 41.22 compared to 41.07. So that is, well, that's 15 seconds. It's not actually changing that much. The problem is, from her point of view, I think, is the amount of swimmers that she's got to get through. So Xinjin was our winner in 154.47 3 years ago in South Korea. Well, if she's going to win this one, she's going to have to do something fairly heroic. The Brazilians are happy. The Brazilians are probably thinking, even at this stage, there might be a chance of a couple of medals, not just one. They might have banked on Cunha getting in the mix. She wasn't last time around. She was 5th in 2019, but she's right there, and she's going to put as much pressure on the Hungarian as she possibly can. Olash, who is now 28, she's 29 in September. One of the two Hungarians, the other one being Vivian Balog. She's back in 12th, so Hungary have got 2 in the top 12 right now. It's the green cap now. Going back to that, talking about trying to keep your feet out of the way of the swimmer. They are in a line, and there's a reason why they're in a line, is they're trying to make it as uncomfortable for the swimmer in front as possible. Now the Brazilian, if she times it right, will be right there on the feet. There's Olash, Muller, and Cunha. Is that Muller moved up to second now? According to that graphic, yes. Certainly our leader is clear-cut. That's Olash, who stopped the clock at 41.07 at 3.2K. And what, Philip, that would be for the Hungarians if they could get a medal in this. Next time check will be 3.8K, so we're well over the way gone. Referee looking at that front back, not happy with what he's seeing at the moment. We haven't had, as far as I'm aware, any yellow flags. Oh, here comes one, potentially. Certainly in the hands of the referee. And is he prepared to use it? That's the question. We need to maybe just keep on him for a moment. We're losing him off that shot, but he was prepared, I think, to maybe wave one. First time we've actually visibly seen him take it out. And you can see, yeah, well, he's blowing the whistle frantically. We need to look at the referee's boat, really, to see whether there's the yellow card coming. There we go. Now, what are we going to see? He'll put up a number if that is the case, or they'll indicate that either point or they'll put a number up to the swimmer who has transgressed. Nothing came up on our screen yet, so I think it's just a warning at this stage. They'll give them a bit of leeway, and if they are multiple offenders, then the yellow flag will appear, and of course if they do it again, then they will be hauled out of the race. Look at that, a mass of arms and legs. And whilst there's now a bit of a breakaway pack, it's not really a pack, it's a kind of a 20, 25, and there's another one just off the back of it. But we still have a lot in contention here. As we look again at the boat, he's trying to communicate to the swimmers. They'll be able to hear him all right. They'll know what they're doing. As far as our leader, Anna Olash, is concerned, all she is concerned with is keeping going. It's not going to be her who's in trouble because she's way clear of everybody else, but right in the middle of that pack, as you saw from one of the shots we saw recently, 4 of them were side by side, and they might be getting a little bit tight. There's another timing marker. That little tent, the Omega tent there, is going to give us the next time check and any radical change. So we'll be keeping an eye on the likes of Aurélie Muller, for example, the 2015 and 17 champion. See whether she can go for 3 and add to that great list we talked about of her medals. The Australian good backer as well. Oh, the yellow card has gone to Angelica Andre. It's just come up on my screen. There you go. Yellow card issued for Angelica Andre. So the Portuguese has got to be careful, because if she does it again and the referee doesn't like what he sees, then she will not be involved in the race anymore. They will take her out. She'll be put in a boat and taken back to shore. Hungarian comes around first. Olash has a lead. It's not a particularly big one, but she'll take what she can get at the moment. Cunha, Gubecka, just refreshing. I'll wait until the computer's done its thing. You'll get an idea on the screen. As it's refreshing on mine, I'll tell you that Brunei Muller, then Cunha, Gabrieleshi, Gubecka, Youngblood, De Valdez, Beck, Grimes. The Americans now moved up into that top 10. And 1 to 10, separated by 6 seconds. Then Moisha Johnson, second of the Australians. Van Rouwendaal is 13th. Sturbova. Now, where is our defending champion? She would have just gone through there. Let's need to check how far back she is. Quite a way back. There we go. She is 23rd. 23rd at the moment, 47.53. Yeah, if anything, actually, she's getting it slightly closer to our leader. She was 15 seconds adrift. She's now 13 seconds adrift. So she is making up a bit of time, and there's still plenty of time for her to get into that opening pack. But she is 13 seconds adrift at the moment. But Olash is deciding that, you know, now is the time to try and be dynamic, try and be direct. And I'm glad to say Mike is back with me. Got some nice pictures?
Oh, yeah, that was fun. Got in the water and shot from underneath the flags at the feeding station.
Right.
So, you know,
where can we see these pictures?
Well, I'm here with Fina, and
okay.
so we can see them there.
Excellent.
And maybe it'll make my Instagram account.
Well, I mean, weather condition-wise, it could hardly be better, could it, for these things? And you've got a race that you can capture some grey images because nobody's broken away yet, even though Olash is trying to do that. And the interesting thing, before you put your headphones on, I was talking about the defending champion. Now, she seems to be a long way back. When you were with me last time, I think she was 15 seconds back. She's about 13 back. So she's actually making a bit of progress while everybody else is in that kind of concertina at the front.
You know, that can be a cagey move. I've seen people pull from that position several times. You know, you kind of play that position in the back, and everybody maybe kind of goes, "Oh, we're expecting to see you up here," and then all of a sudden you get in that last lap. It's like, "Hi, I'm here. How you guys been?"
It's a bit like going off the pontoon first, isn't it? A lot of people hold back and they go, "Why do I want to be amongst 61 swimmers?
Absolutely.
If I wait a couple of seconds, I have clear water. I can do my own thing."
Yeah, that's really part of it. Sometimes, you know, the energy just gets you at the start, but truth be told, that's I think can be a very sage strategy.
I love a day when nobody wants to go first. They go, "No, after you. No, after you. You can go first." And they're all standing on the pontoon and waiting for them to go. And, "No, I'd rather you go first." And 2 hours later, you're still waiting for them to jump off the pontoon.
Yeah, kind of like at the velodrome in cycling. You know, when you watch just taking that super slow pace,
yeah,
and
exactly.
all of a sudden, like, my turn to go.
Yeah, but everybody has a strategy. And, you're right. Some people just can't wait to get in there, and other people go, "No, I'll let them go first."
Yeah.
It's not. Yeah, a couple of seconds is not going to make a lot of difference over a race that's an hour and 50.
No, absolutely. This, you know, again, it can come down to those final seconds, but that's not where the differential's being made at the start.
And then that's in itself quite a good question, I think, which you maybe have an answer, is people look at a race that last time around it was 1:54.47, right? So you've nearly got a 1:55 race here, and it comes down to fractions. It comes down to tenths of a second. We saw the other day 2 teams in the relay finish exactly the same time. How does that happen over such a long race? And why does it happen?
Well, it just boils down to that. That's how that strategy plays out, you know. And when you see that come down, that's why some of this pool training. A lot of people who may not have a lot of experience in open water don't realize that so much comes down to the pool, and to have that closing speed is so critical.
Right. Tell me what you know about Anna Olash. Tell me what you know about Anna Olash.
I don't know a lot.
But the fact she's Hungarian.
Frankly, I'm not going to lie. I don't know a lot, but I know that she's out there having a fantastic race up to this point.
Yeah, and she is trying to get a bit of distance, and we're going to get another time check here. Now, she was just over a second clear Brunei and Muller. Well, Muller was 3rd place last time. Let's see where that gap has opened. That gap has marginally opened up. Top 3 has changed a little bit. So Cunha now is ahead of Muller, then Gabrieleshi, then Fabian, then Gubecka, then Van Rouwendaal. I keep expecting Van Rouwendaal to make a bit of a charge here, and she's starting to edge her way up. Then the, well, that's the second of the Australians. She is still the second of the Australians, Moisha Johnson. Katrina Bellio, now she's one of the young Canadians. The Canadians have kind of changed their structure a little bit. They had a lot of experienced swimmers which weren't quite pushing on, so they've gone, let's go for youth. Let's try youth and see what youth does, and you know, give youth its head. Sometimes it can provide some really good things.
Well, we were talking about the difference between swimming, a pool, and open water. Open water is really a veteran's game most often. Now, I'm not saying always, but there's so much to be learned.
Just a quick look at the feeding session. We'll develop that thought in just a moment. Let's see who takes a feed this time and how they take a feed. This is the other thing, because you've got to be so precise. It's a little bit like you'll see in Paralympic swimming when you have the blind athletes. You have to make sure you give them a tap when they're on the turn. If you get that tap wrong and they career into the block, obviously it completely ruins the race. So it is that technique in Paralympics, in the Paralympic swimming. When the blind swimmer comes through and you've got to let them know they need to turn, they have to tap them. The tappers have to get it just right. And I've seen times with more inexperienced tappers where basically the swimmer goes careering into the blocks. It's not funny, obviously, for the swimmer, but you've got to get that. And kind of a bit like that you have to make sure that feed's right, or else the bottle goes everywhere and the swimmer actually doesn't get a feed at all. So
that's interesting. We've talked about that last position I took for photography, and you're in that. You can, first of all, hear a lot of chatter and really trying the strategy. You can hear the coaches talking about, okay, I see her here, I see her here. So there's this observation that's taking place, and they're watching for, hey, can my swimmer break on the inside, or are they going to be just pushed out of this feed? But yes, that coordination between the feeder and the swimmer really boils down to, I think that's a great analogy of the tapper.
So Cunha is right in there, but also the American's right in the mix. So I can definitely throw the American at you and tell me what you know about her.
Well, both Katie Grimes and Mariah Denigan have, Katie Grimes has come up from, she's very young now, but she has been at the nationals in the United States for open water swimming for, I don't know if she started when she was 12. I don't know. She's really, really young. And she just has this immense ability to just get out there and grind. So I am not giving it up on her. Look at her stroke. Yeah, it's a really, really kind of clean, even, balanced. She takes, just say you take a little peek right there, a little peekaboo looking forward. That's something else. You don't want to lift your head. You want to conserve that energy. So she just gets a little peek every once in a while, and that's where maybe being on the toes of somebody is going to give you. You can watch the bubbles of the person in front of you. If you kind of give faith that they've got a good sight, that can be a good strategy as well.
Do they get at all phased by the person they're swimming against when she looks at Muller, for example, she's doing there and goes, oh, that's Aurelie Muller. The fact that she knows what a reputation she has, the medals she's had, would that phase her at all?
I don't think so. But if we keep this, see that she's got look how she incorporates. That's a really beautiful move. And undoubtedly her coach, Ron Aiken, has helped train her for that exact position. She doesn't. She barely breaks. Look at that. It really incorporates it almost as though, it's just this natural move where a lot of swimmers kind of just really pulling up. You got to just ease into it. She seems to incorporate it into her stroke cycle.
The guys on pool deck, I think, are the Brazilians, are they not? Or are they just the lifeguards? They look like a Brazilian kits on, haven't they?
I'm not sure exactly what's going on there.
Is artistic swimming starting again, or what?
It may be a lifeguard signal.
It is.
In fact, I think they were signaling to the lifeguards in the water or something. So it's one that I'm not familiar with.
No, I was thinking, looking at the colours, thinking, is that the Brazilian support? They've got a lot of support down by the pontoon, but I thought, are they out there as well? But no, it's similar colours. Anyway, we kind of have a semi-breakaway now. We have three at the front. Olash is right up there. Bruni's right up there. Cunha's right up there. Muller's right up there. And it's at the moment between those four. And I keep saying that, but we're not even halfway yet. I keep thinking we're 57 minutes. We've got probably another hour to go in this race yet. We've seen one yellow card. Referee lost his patience and did give one yellow card, but he's just keeping a very close eye on that pack, which is starting to break up a little bit. Now let's have a look at the gap here. So Olash 52.09. Where is the defending champion? She is now 16th. So she's making her way through a little bit, 52.22, but she's actually lost a couple of seconds on the leader. She's now 13 seconds adrift.
Yeah, I'm still looking at the pack dynamics and feeling really good about that differential, the prospect of making that, because if it was, we were just really hauling and that was a really thinned out group and we saw that differential, I may have a different interpretation of what's going on there.
What do you think about Cunha going, well, I say going this early, she hasn't gone yet, but being right up there, because I think, does she make a reputation of kind of holding a little bit and then going, right, there's another 2K to go, now I go. She's right up there, which is a slightly different race strategy for her, I think.
Yeah, we get more in the bag. That's what we're talking about, that veteran advantage in open water, because it's not like, you grow up as a kid, you can go and swim a bunch of 50s or a bunch of 100s. You kind of get a bunch of these experiences under your belt. Whereas open water, you just don't have the opportunity to race a 10K at that frequency. And so the veterans who have come up in this can realize, hey, I know what this looks like. I know what it feels like. I've seen this pack dynamic before. And, I'm just going to keep it together. I'm going to play back here. And like I said, show up at the end and say, hey, I'm here at the party too.
Right, 4.9K will be the next time check. We'll get an idea of whether this pack is breaking up. It doesn't look to be breaking up a lot. I mean, there are fewer swimmers in there, but we're not talking about 4 or 5. We're still talking about maybe 15 to 20 very much still involved in this. Yeah, so you've seen open water for, we're talking about 20 years now, since it started in Fukuoka. How much has it moved on, and what have been the great developments in that time?
I just think the commitment amongst the nations and the athletes, the more, as we've talked about, experience pays off, organization, interest. There's a phenomenal worldwide interest in open water swimming just as an activity. And so we're seeing these two kind of coalesce and become something that, we can see here at the beach. This is serious athleticism, but it's also more of a festive environment. This kind of bridging that gap is becoming like a surf event, where we have the excitement of the beach and this excitement in the water as well. So I really like where that's coming. I really like what the organizing committees have been doing. So the sport itself has really come a long way, and it's fun to see its progression.
The problem is, maybe from an Olympic point of view, that it's only the 10K right now. Do you see that expanding?
I don't know. There's a lot that goes into this. Really, again, I just couldn't tell you. I think it'd be great.
What would you like?
I'd like to see it again. I'd like to see a 5K in there. I'd like to see a relay in there.
I mean, you're right. I mean, that was a very fun event the other day. And maybe the 5K, because it's not a massive step up from 1,500, might be more acceptable.
Well, and also now that we tend to see more of a tendency towards keeping these out of the rowing venues. When we saw it in Beijing, it was on the rowing venue, rowing kayak venue. And so, of course, you have those schedules that you have to work with and work around. So to add more events is just another layer of complexity.
Yeah. But Fukuoka next time round, it's come back full circle, hasn't it? First one, Fukuoka. The 12th version will be in Fukuoka as well.
I know, that's going to be really, really exciting. And they did such a great job at time one. It's going to be exciting. That'll be a great benchmark to see actually how it has progressed.
Right, we're on the verge of getting another time check here at 4.9K. And we are now looking at a bit of a change in the pecking order. Obviously, some of them are still right in there. But there's Orly Muller having a rare old battle with the American, and right on this side is Cunha. So they're screaming and shouting like it's the end of the race. Maybe they think it's a 5K. They've got over 5K still to go on this one. And when they come past the timing device, which is pretty soon, we'll know exactly how things are looking. So let's try and do a quick count up here. What do we reckon? 20, 25 in that
That's
that
I think of that quick shot we just saw, that's exactly what I'd say. Going to be curious to see here what the feeding strategy is going to be, because for a lot, this might be strategically the last chance that you'd want to do this. Definitely, if you're in the lead, you don't want to be pulling away at the 5th, going into 6. So 3 into 4 is yet another opportunity. We're going to see what happens here.
Okay, well, let's analyze who does and who doesn't and how they do it, more to the point, because I can see there's a lot of people on the pontoon with their feeding sticks, for want of a better word.
Yeah, well, look, they're not going. See, you can see it right there. Look at their position. They're not positioning in right there. They would have been making that move.
Yeah, they've all gone by. All the leaders have gone by. I don't see anybody in end of that pack going on. They're all being offered it.
Yeah, look at, there's a little crossover move right there. And that crossover move, again, this is about positioning at the next buoy. So we're going to see what's going on there. Maybe Grimes did pull over and say, hey, I'm going to take this one now. And that might be the decision there. The Italians did.
Yeah, they left it quite late, too. We were looking at them coming in formation. You think, well, they're all going to go past, like you said, and then suddenly they veer off into the pontoon.
Again, I think it's some of that bifurcation of these packs here. So there wasn't really that positioning that you could see, but eventually they cleared out and moved on over. So, no, it actually looks like Grimes didn't. I guess she didn't. She wasn't one of the ones that pulled over.
Okay, so Grimes is obviously right up there with the American cap. So is Muller. In fact, the last time check, it's got Muller in the lead, but now we can see Grimes has gone to the front. De Valdez, who was just keeping her station a little bit, she was just off onto that front pack, has now come right back into it. Leia Boy, I've not mentioned her for a while. She's in there again. Cunha is fifth, but we are talking about, again, I'm just trying to give you the split between them. Our leader is 102.08, and you go down to Bruni in 14th. He's 102.14. 6 seconds between 1 and 14. And I know I sound obsessed by this, but I do keep wanting to see where our defending champion is. And she's 34th now. Her race is run. Come on. She's 34th.
What's her differential in the back?
So she's 102.2. Our leader is 102.08. So it's now 15 seconds. And we're getting further into the race
We
now.
are, but 15 with, we still got 3. We're halfway, right?
I will be amazed if she can get through from there.
I'm gonna still give her a strong fighting chance. Okay. So that's fun to have, right?
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with a little gentlemanly disagreement.
Yeah. I just think the great swimmer that she is, and she obviously is. She did 154.47 when she won last time.
Remember we talked about different feeding earlier?
Yeah.
That great shot of the Italian taking the gel. We talked about on the back.
Yeah. What do they take? Right. So what? I mean, is it liquid? You talk about gel. Do they have choices, or do they have preferences, or what?
They have choices. You're going to get a more calorie infusion with the gel because you can just take more calories. And that's what it's all about. It's just keeping those sugars inside of you.
But that's not liquid, is it? It's not. I always think of it like not a protein drink, but something that's got a water based, and you take a gel, and that doesn't have quite the same constituents in it.
No, it's a little bit. The viscosity is less than toothpaste.
Okay,
but you just
go and brush your teeth as you go through.
Yeah, but just squeeze it in and take it in. But again, it's about you can just pump more calories in that way.
Okay. No, I also was on the energy drinks are equivalent of, which are just easier to consume because I imagine when those little gel things, do they not have to open them? And if you've got wet hands, the last thing you want to do is do that.
No, so they're opened and they're inside the stick, and so they just pull them out of the stick and they just squeeze it in and out.
Right. Okay. You make it sound easy. I think I would have, if I was coming past, I'd have a problem. I'd be halfway around saying, I can't get this thing open. It'd be terrible.
Yeah, look at what we got going here now. Now we're starting to see an increase in stroke rate. We're seeing there we go. Look at that dynamic of the pack there. It really kind of tells you.
And they're pretty much in a straight line as well. Well, certainly the front lot are. You look at the front 5, 6. There is the cap of Gubecka, I think, just to the right. So she's not quite following that formation. And then you'll see 3 in a row just at the back of the pack, and then another 3 behind. And there's a bit of a formation. It's a bit like almost a football formation of 4-4-3, which would be 11, but you know what I mean?
Right, absolutely. It's also neat to see in those overhead shots just how the symmetry of the strokes of our lead pack right now. Smooth, easy, what would be termed a sort of a front-loaded freestyle. You really let the hips do the driving. A lot of people think you're driving with the arms, but you really want to let the body. You swim as a whole entity. And so their vessel out there is smooth and efficient, and it's really neat to see the speed with that efficiency out here in open water.
Now, Katie Grimes, I think, is an 8 and a 1,500-meter freestyle swimmer. She probably looks at Ledecky and thinking, well, I'm not going to beat you, so maybe open water is a better strategy for me.
Well, she comes from a club in the United States, the Sandpipers of Nevada, that has just a storied history in open water. They show up en masse. In fact, we're going to see in the men's race, we're going to see 2 brothers that came out of that same program, the Gravely brothers. So There's something to that. They show up in force more than any other team over in the U.S.
And how is the U.S. open water program? Obviously, you had that horrible setback with Fran Crippen, which hopefully that's well behind you now, and you can move on from that.
You know, Fran's touch still lives on. I think a lot of us who knew Fran know what a wonderful guy that he was, and what he brought. You know, his energy was so beautiful. He just lifted everyone around him, and you know, he really set the table for American open water swimming. And so we see it coming on strong. We're seeing more and more young kids take into the program, and our national program now.
Because you have an event in his name, don't you?
We do. Well, that's actually a pool event. Well, there are a couple. There is an open water event, but there's a storied pool event.
All right, and there's an American who is at the front right now. Katie Grimes is doing the leg work. She's doing what we might call the donkey work. She's just trying to do the work that was being done by the Hungarian earlier on. But they're kind of taking it in turns. So around another boy, so we're going to get another time check soon. And we are now over halfway. In fact, here comes the time check. And Gabrieleschi now in second place. Muller, Cunha, that's not really changed a great deal. Two Italians in the top five. Bruni's there too. Boy, Becker. Olash is now back at eighth. And I say slipped back to eighth. She's barely slipped back. She's only 5 seconds off the pace. Top 20. Just refreshing our computer, which has just jumped on me again. Gabrieleschi, we mentioned second. Let's go down 108.30. Yeah, so again, we're still talking about in the region of 20 seconds between, you can see how difficult this is to try and find. De Valdez is 15th. She's about 12 seconds back. Sun is about 15 seconds back. Where is our defending champion? She's not appearing yet. There she is, 34th, 109.05. So she is now 35 seconds behind.
Well, I'm going to come over to your camp now because, and one of the reasons I do is I'm looking at this dynamic here of this pack. See the spaghetti noodle that's starting to develop? That's telling me.
Are you hungry with all this talk of food or what?
No, exactly. There we go, bringing it in. Maybe I am. Maybe that's what we can do during the break. Go have some good spaghetti.
Now, there's another yellow flag out. We can't see the number. We'll get it on the computer soon. Now, we can't get an angle on that, but another swimmer has got a yellow card. Sorry, I keep saying yellow card. I'm thinking water polo here, but yellow flag. And it's going to be somebody in that little batch there. I'm not going to throw you by saying, have you spotted anything? Because that's the referee's obviously within feet, and we are a long way away from it. But that chasing pack, somebody is obviously...
Oh, so it's 2:21.
So that is De Valdez of Spain. De Valdez of Spain has a yellow card. So she now has to be really careful. I wonder with referees sometimes, like any sport where you've got to oversee things and you have to make a choice, how lenient they are. Now, if you've got a yellow card, you don't want to throw a swimmer out, but how much leniency do they give them for the red card?
I'd like to hope that there's actually just none, that they're just being objective as possible. So it's hard to get in their head. But I know that, again, there's so much it's so hard to see. One of the things out there, too, when you're getting that call, you heard them whistling so much. Well, one of the challenges is that they're trying to get her to at least understand. And
she's got to look up and see the number as well.
Well, so she's got to hear this whistle and look up. But you're just so in this place, you know. You think that that's a loud, crazy whistle, and she may be completely oblivious just because she's so locked into it.
And also, she may think she's done nothing wrong. It might be somebody alongside her who's done something wrong.
Yeah. That I'm hearing the whistle. It's not me.
Yeah.
So
and you can't have that conversation with the referee when you're swimming, can you?
No,
you can't stop and tread water and go, I don't agree with you, and then head off after them afterwards.
Yeah, like in American baseball, you can't run out to the manager, can't run out to the ref and say, hold it, stop the game.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be quite funny. They just stopped and treaded water for like 10 seconds, had a conversation with the referee, who then disappears in the boat, and they're trying to shout at them from a distance. But anyway, Katie Grimes is not having that kind of problem. She's at the front, but she's now joined by Gabrieleschi and Muller. So it looks like we have three at the front of the pack. Cunha and Bruni are in there. Boy, and then there's 1, 2, 3, 4 in a line. So that echelon is still about 15 to 20. Referee now is just pointing. I don't know what he's pointing at, but no red or yellow flags being demonstrated yet. And now we have a bit of a scrap going on, between the top two, who are only separated by a second at the last time check, where they're separated by about 0.1 now, 1 and 2.
Yeah, it's slowing up a little bit right now. And there's Cunha on the inside. And here, look at, we talked about that veteran experience. Here we're now seeing the manifestation of that.
But Grimes is looking good, and she'll come around the bush. She'll want to be first round this as well. She won't want to get bumped and bored on the way through, and she manages that. Then Brunei, and they got Youngblood now third. Van Rouwendaal, mentioned her earlier.
Yeah, I had that. It wasn't. Cunha is actually farther back. That was our other Brazilian.
Youngblood, yeah. But watch out for Van Rouwendaal. We know her pedigree, don't we? And, you know what she can do. And, you know, she has the endurance. She's not going to worry about 10K because she does that in her sleep.
Absolutely.
Must be quite a strange bed if she does that in her sleep. But 25K coming up for her tomorrow. And, yeah, so actually, you're right. It's not Cunha. Although Cunha's not far behind. We're talking about 6 seconds off the front was Cunha at that time. Beck is there. So I'm just going to go through that top 15 for you. At the last time check, anyway. Let's look at the feeding station first to see who wants a drink and who doesn't, who wants a gel and who doesn't.
Yeah, this is that outside station that's the farther point on the lake. So this is an interesting one. This might be one that sometimes you might want to choose simply because it's like, hey, there's not as much traffic out here. So there might be some strategy at play there.
Would they have talked about this before the race so they know where they're going to feed? Or is this strictly down to the swimmer to go, yeah, now I need one?
Well, you talk about it for sure. And then, of course, you've just got to be ready for the judgment call because, yeah, you have that strategy at play. But I think we talked earlier about kind of nipping on down through all your different strategies and getting down there to plan D or C.
All right, let's go through that list for you. I was about to do that, but I thought we'd just see how the feeding station worked. So Grimes was a couple of seconds clear of Bruni, then Youngblood, then Van Rouwendaal, then De Valdez has got a yellow card against her name. Leonie Beck, Aurélie Muller, then Cunha, then Gabriela. She's moved back into 9th place, has joined 9th with her and Gebecka. Then it's Boy, then it's Olash, then it's Rosa, the Portuguese. Fabian is 14th, Johnson is 15th, Balok 16th, and then Andre 17th, son of China 18th, Giordano at 19th. And Jinjin is 24th, 1:13.27. So she is now, 37 seconds behind our leader.
Yeah, this is definitely kind of the pace has slowed up a bit. This could be. I really hope. I really love a good end of the race. You know, we can start to kind of think that way now, just a bit.
Whose hands does this play into? Who would love this strategy of the ones in that pack? Who do you think is going to profit more from it?
I think they're all prepped for it. I think they truly are. I think certainly Grimes has shown what we saw in the pool. Those who've come from this pool last week and showed really solid last hundreds as we've seen. Of course, that's going to play out. But truly, I can't say that there's any one. This is what they train for that. That's the scenario that plays out. You kind of like a clean breakaway. That's always a fun one. But from a spectator's perspective, I'll tell you, there's nothing like an exciting finish, right?
At the last time check, Muller was 7th. Well, it's pretty clear she's not 7th now.
Right.
She's right alongside our leader, Katie Grimes, and Muller's won this twice before, so she knows how to do it.
Absolutely, and that tells me that her strategy is she's definitely employed it now, and it's time to be comfortable with being up there in front.
Well, next time round, next time check will be 6.5, so we're 2/3 of the way into the race. We still have a very big pack there, and we don't have a great differential between 1 and 15. In fact, I'm looking back there. There's a whole bunch still on 113.02 at last check. So you could go right down, in theory, down to Gio Danino in 19th. That is 1:13.11. Yeah, that's about 20 seconds back. So basically, there's 20 seconds covering the top 20 or so.
Yeah, and it's a matter of where you find that position of rolling into the front position there, because as Muller's decision to move her way up was later in the race, because right now that differential becomes more meaningful, not only because we're later in the race from a distance perspective, but in terms of an energy output. When you have to make up that differential too late strategically, if you decide to strategically, I want to make it up too late, you may not find yourself in that position if you need to be. So you talked about an advantage earlier. Well, that's where the strategy really plays out. So if someone had to make that push at this point from 13 up to this, they may have sort of used all their gas.
Yeah, and they might just have to move out of that pack a little bit, try and find some clear water and make that move, because at the moment, you're seeing a blockage ahead of you, just seeing bodies ahead of you. So that the only way to get around that is to start going right or going left to try and get around that pack.
Yeah, being boxed in is a really tough place to be strategically. So yeah, there we go. But Grimes, see where Grimes is right there? That's the sweet spot for drafting. I was talking earlier about being on the hip. So if she can stay in there on her hip, you can see there's almost like a little wave that develops right there.
Well, the top Brazilian we thought would be the winner from the other day, but Cunha is a little bit further away. She's in that pack, so she's not too far back, but she's going to have to be in range. Now, around another boy they will come. We'll get another time check at 6.5K. We're not quite there yet, but we'll get another look. And again, they're all trying to battle their way around the boy. And again, they don't want to lose position, and what they don't want to do is lose their stroke. And that's the other thing, isn't it? When you go around, I'll call it a buoy, you call it a buoy.
Yeah.
when they go around the buoy, it's actually losing your stroke rate, because you're into a rhythm, and then you have to adjust it to go around there anyway. And then getting back into that rhythm again, that adjustment must be quite difficult.
Yeah, you're dealing with that sort of choppy stroke that you have to maybe employ, but you're also dealing with the water, all those bubbles, so you don't have the traction in the water. So yeah, there's a couple of forces at play there, but I'm really interested to see Muller right now, and we could potentially also see one of these, complete clean breakaway races like we've seen in other events.
Yeah, well, Muller is so quick, she doesn't even show on our system. That's how good she is right now. So she didn't go up on the last time check. Grimes came up as the leader, but we know that's not the case. We can see that is errant information. Then Bruni is right there, Youngblood's there. Van Rouwendaal is now 5th. I think we're going to adjust these numbers because she is 5th. Then De Valdez, then Beck, then it's Cunha, then it's Gabrieleshi, then it's Becker, then it's Boy, then it's Olash, and we are talking about 9 seconds between the top 12. We're talking about 10 seconds between the top 13, 14, then Moisture Johnson, then Balok, then Andre, then Sun, then Gio Danino, and 24th place for our defending champion. Mike is going to leave me. Thank you, Mike. Do I see you later on? Yeah, she'll be back. He's coming back. We have a do not finish. Sorry, not a DQ. We have a do not finish, and that's going to be Diana Quiroz, who was the first person not to get through that sector. So we're looking at a very impressive bit of swimming here. Well, she's done it before. She's done it twice before. She was the winner in 2015. She was a winner in 2017. At this stage, she's looking very good. Now, remember, not getting too carried away. We're not even 2/3 of the way into the race yet, so quite a bit can change. And Katie Grimes will have her eyes set at least on a medal, if not on winning. Now, look, here we go. That strategy. They're all in a line. Nobody's kind of veering off. You can hear the referee's whistle again, because he's seeing something that he's not particularly enamored with. But we're not seeing any more yellow flags. We've had 2, and the one that's really of importance is De Valdez, because she's in that pack. She, at the last check, was 6th. So what she's not want to do, get to 6.5 and find that she's departing the scene. We'll get a lovely view of the water, and then we'll get a lovely view of the swimmers. just a little bit further back down. But it is the French woman who was so impressive the other day. Silver medal in the 5. She's just celebrated her 32nd birthday just a couple of weeks ago, Aurelie Muller, and that'll be another time check at 6.5. So we're pretty much 2/3 of the race gone, and it's correct this time because, as we can see, Aurelie Muller is our leader. Katie Grimes is second. The top 5 or 6 are staying pretty solid now. Grimes, Gabrieleschi, Cunha, Gebecka, Boy, Bruni, Youngblood, Rosa, De Valdez. Then it's Beck. Then it's Denigan of the USA. Not mentioned her for a while, but she's creepy up there. Van Rouwendaal, who was in the top 6, now finds herself about 9 seconds, a bit more than that, actually 12 seconds back. So it is time to open out a bit now. 12 seconds between 1 and 13. A bit of pace being put into the race. And I think I can fairly categorically tell you that the defending champion is not going to be featuring at the end of this in terms of a medal anyway. She's 20 seconds. She's made up a couple of places, but she is a long, long way back. Yeah, it's not going to happen for Jinjin today. She is, well, she's 17 seconds back now. So yeah, hold your horses on that one, Ballard, because you may get a bit of egg on the face, because she was about 30 seconds back. She's now 17 seconds back. Well, she'll have a lot of clear water back there, so she can maybe advance more quickly than the others. But if she's going to do it, she's going to have to be Speedy Gonzalez coming through, and she's a long, long way back at this stage. So Muller from Grimes, from Gabrieleschi, France, USA, Italy. And now Cunha is the leading Brazilian of the two. Gebecka of Australia. Then Boy of Germany. Bruni's in there. Youngblood is still in there. Top 10, separated by 10 seconds at this stage. Leonie Beck is just outside that. Van Rouwendaal is now down in 13th place. So maybe putting her eggs in the 25K basket after today. Just looking a bit further down the field. I mentioned Jinjin is in 22nd. Jager is 24th. Van Rensburg, the other South African, is 26th. Sterbever of Czech Republic, 27. Sandoval of Mexico, 28. Any notables quite a way back? Or Martinez is 31st. Bellio, who was making a bit of a move early on, finds herself back in 35th now. So the Canadian did put a bit of a spurt on. Has not managed to maintain that. She's quite a way back in the pack. Talking of packs, here is the front of the race, chasing the heels of Aurelie Muller, but she hasn't got this nailed yet. And Cunha will be the danger. There's the German boy. That's Youngblood, actually, with Boy at this stage. Yellow card for De Valdez, to remind you, but it's Muller from Grimes. Boy is now in that pack. She's not third. I think she's still, what, fourth maybe, but there's absolutely no doubting who our leader is. And just to remind you, in her collection, she has 3 gold medals, 4 silver medals. She doesn't have a bronze yet. She doesn't want to slip down to 3rd place, and she was the silver medalist in the 5K the other day behind Anna Cunha. Good splits at the moment for Muller. Well, she's got that clear water, so she can do with it what she pleases. Grimes, Gabrieleschi, Cunha, Gebecka, Boy and Bruni is your top 7. Youngblood, Rosa and Valdez make up the top 10. So we get a slightly closer view of our leader, and we also get, that looks like 4 women in a boat, and maybe in a boat race. They're that close together. That's a feed being taken by Cunha. Well, she's one of the strongest individuals in there, but even she, Mike is back with me, needs a feed.
Absolutely. That's sort of interesting now to see. You know, some we may have seen their last the last feed. as we went through there on 3. 4 and 5 start to become a little bit for that lead pack to take.
Well, we look at Muller, and she has a memory bank on this, right? Because she did it in 2015, she did it in 2017. I don't know what her race strategy was then, because I can't remember. Oh, wow, it's a yellow flag coming out. Well, I'll continue that thought after we've seen who's going to get the yellow card. We can't see from that angle. Hopefully we'll get one, 2. Oh. Hold it up, ref. 2, 3 something.
I know.
2, 3. Well, if it's something at the front, it's going to be Gebecka, isn't it? If it's 2, 3. 2, 3, 2 maybe. I'm guessing. It looked like 2, 3 something. So if that's the case of the front pack, it's got to be Gebecka.
Right.
Could be the Australian who's got a yellow flag. I am guessing we'll get that confirmed. Come on, give us the number again. 210.
Well,
210.
210.
So
well, that's a different. Actually,
that's 2. So Gabriel Leschi, who got a yellow card in the 5K, has got one in the 10K.
Right. So there were just 2 given out because those were 2 different referees. Yeah. So. Yeah, that's interesting. That contains you, of course, at this stage, right?
Yeah.
It contains you at any stage. But
yeah. Well, especially she got one the other day in the 5K. She's obviously doing something the referees don't like, because she's transgressed on 2 occasions now, Gabrielle Eschi, and she was in 3rd at the last time check. We're going to get another time check here, by the way, that's coming around, and you can see that the timing device is right on that boy for 7.1K, and it's Muller from Grimes, then Leah Boy, and then it's Gabriel Eschi with that yellow card. Let's see who else got a yellow card. That hasn't come up on the system yet. Bruni, Beck, Gebecka. Oh, it's coming up.
Andre or M. De Valles?
De Valles, okay. Yeah, well, De Valles already had that one, so okay. Because we couldn't see that number. We need to talk to the referee about showing it to the camera next time. We'll talk to the organizer and say, can we see it on the camera, please? It does help us if you could, because we're trying to interpret numbers that some we can see and some we can't see, right? So Muller is our leader, and she has about a 2-second lead now with 3K to go, just under 3K to go. Grimes, then Leah Boy, then Gabriel Eschi with that yellow flag and the yellow card. Cunha, Bruni, Beck, Gebecka. It was Gebecka. There you go. Oh, it was Gebecka. There you go. I was right.
You were right. Good
Fantastic.
job. Way to go. You interpreted that just off the ability to partially see 2 numbers.
It's got a bit of guesswork, and I'm just looking down. Well, it has to be her because she's the only one that's in that pack. But yeah, it was Gebecka, so she got the yellow card. Then Van Rouwendaal in 9th, Youngblood. While you were away, Mike, funny enough, our defending chairman had made a bit of progress. She worked her way up. She closed the gap a little bit, but I said that we've got 2 and not going to finish, by the way, I think, in this one, by the looks of things. But let's go down the sheet and see where Xinjin is. 20th now. She's moving up. 129.12 means that she is actually now +7, 19 seconds back.
Yeah.
But obviously we don't have long to go in this race, so at 19 seconds is going to take a lot of overhauling.
We don't, and again, here's a bit of a tempo change. So you're just looking at stroke rate and seeing what's going on here. This is going to get very, very exciting, and to see how the rest of the field is going to be able to either respond or just be broken at this stage.
Well, she's going for 3 titles now in this event in the World Championship. Is there anything visibly you can see that sets her aside from others? Is there anything with a stroke or her endurance or what?
Well, you can see she has a higher stroke rate than Grimes at this stage. And, the ability to sustain that throughout and put that speed in and hold it to the finish. We saw where she picked that point. I can't remember exactly, but I think it was around 6K at which she started to kind of, okay, now I'm going to come into this thing. And so she knows, hey, I know it going at 4K, I can hold this thing the rest of the way. So it'll be, as we watch this play out, to see that this is it a sort of a fake strategy, kind of give that burst and then kind of slow down and kind of go, okay, now I'm just having to deal with 2 people. Or is it just, hey, I'm going to go for broke now. This is it. And, she's definitely up the rate out there.
And providing she's got enough in the tank, and she invariably does have enough in the tank, what is Cunha's strategy now?
she's got to get in there. She's got to get up in there with her. I mean, she can't hold off too long. I mean, look at that. I mean, the power right there is just really impressive. I'm truly impressed with this.
Just to remind you, 154.47.2 was the winning time 3 years ago. And so far, the indicators are here. In the races that we've seen so far, every race has been slightly quicker. So I think we may be looking at, well, what, maybe mid 154s, low 154s.
I don't know. What were we at the turn? I mean, at the halfway point, we were at 202, I think.
Let's try and see if we can get this back.
Yeah, see if we can get that back.
Let's get that back. Right, hang on. You're asking me for this computer that's it doesn't like me very much. I got to be. So I can give you 4.9. I can give you. I can't give you 5. So that was 102.08 at 4.9. So that was suggest, but they'll get quicker in the second half.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's not an even split. Yeah, this is looking, really. But look, we have Grimes is opening up. It's closing the differential a little bit. She was at 2-0 earlier. Now she's at 1-6.
Now we got the possibility of a two-headed race here,
yeah,
because Muller and Grimes are now opening quite a gap over the others.
Yeah, she hasn't necessarily broken anybody yet. That's for sure. Of course, that's what you'd like to do, right? You want to break your competitors and keep on going.
Look who's 11th.
Oh, interesting.
Xinjin has now moved up to 11th place, and she is, well, again, I'll temper that by saying she's still 17 seconds back, but she hasn't been in the top 10 at any point. She's right on the verge of making top 10 now.
Well, let's keep an eye on the outside fee station here and see, but I just doubt it would be so risky. Muller's just setting such a great pace right now. That would to...
That's the Italian. Oh, she's taking it.
Well, see how fast that was? That was like Formula One, right?
Yes.
I'm always
quick
blown away.
tire change.
How they do that tire change, it blows my mind. That was really remarkable there.
Was that Gabrieleschi, wasn't it? Just taking a feed there.
Yeah, it may have been one of those hit and miss strategies where it's like, hey, I'm just going to do it, and I'm going to throw it at myself and hopefully take some, right?
Yeah, I mean, you're getting tired by this time. So your brain's trying to keep it going, your hands are trying to keep it going. You think, right, feed, I've got to get this. And yeah, you hope that everything is coordinated at that stage.
Oh, without a doubt.
So Muller, Grimes, and then there's a bit of a battle on between the two Italians, actually, for the bronze medal, Bruni and Gabrieleschi. And Fabian has been, she was the leader early on. She's coming right back into the pack again. She's 5th.
Yeah, let's put a pin in those Italians here for a second. That's when we talk about teams working together.
Yeah,
that's a great opportunity. So they've got pairing right now in the lead, and I'll tell you, talk about a great open water program. So this could be quite interesting. You talk
off the back of a really good long distance pool program, by the way.
Well, without it, and that's typically how it progresses. You asked earlier about kind of the differential between maybe what's going on in the U.S. and what we see in Europe. One of the advantages the Europeans have is they get to be around each other and race each other a lot. And I know that the American program they're going to stay on after this and do a series of races. But having those opportunities to get to know your competitor in open water is that's really, really key.
There's not enough events per year, are there? You talk about this year, if you're European or let's say you're British, for example, you'll get to do the Worlds, you'll get to do the Commonwealth Games, you'll get to the Europeans in the space of 6 weeks. Now, open water swimmers don't have that.
Right. You don't have the same number, but they can meet up in some of these series that aren't on the international program and potentially face off with one another, and I know they do.
Right, let's keep an eye on what's happening here, because we're seeing the aforementioned Brazilian just making her way into the shots. Let's look at the leaders as we're seeing it on the screen. There they are, with Grimes in there. Now, what's Muller's still? That's a chasing pack. That's not the front three. That involves Gubeka, who's on a yellow. It involves Olash, who's closest to our camera there in the chasing pack. Also, Moisha Johnson just off the back of that, and Angelica Andre of Portugal. Again, I'm just amazed that overhead shot. how many are still in camera range? You know, I think I said the other day, you have to have a big blanket, but you could throw a blanket over that lot.
I think that's a great yet imperfect analogy, but I think it tells us something, right?
Yeah.
You know, one question that often comes up, people will ask about, oh, what's up with the tape? You know, if you're not in this, you may wonder what that tape is on their caps. And the reason why they have that tape is to keep the cap from coming off. You know, we talked about sort of how frenetic it can be going through turns and so forth.
So often they have a cap within a cap, don't they? That sometimes have two caps on.
Yeah, that's actually can be a bit much because the heat you're going to retain with two caps.
But I know some people do that. They feel comfortable because if they feel a cap sliding off, they'd rather have that solidity of it actually be on their heads.
Right.
Right, so Cunha, Grimes, and Gabrielashi. This is starting to change a bit. So where is Muller gone?
I'm not sure. That is really, really interesting to me. I thought I saw...
Yeah, we're looking at that going, there's got to be a French cap there somewhere.
I thought I saw some interesting dynamic happening, and I'm not sure exactly what, because we cut to a different shot. So
well, let's
keep tack on this.
All right,
and see.
So she looks to be... It's not that distinct on our camera, on our monitor, by the way, but she's still in there, but she's not in that top two now. Working, yeah, it's the Brazilian and the American now. So something changed just then. Now, we didn't see anything untoward happen.
No.
But something odd happened to Muller because she was at the last time check, 7.5. She was leading, and she was leading by a second and a half.
Yes. But going back to what we see, now we're kind of going, okay, we talked about the Cunha advantage, you know, all those years, all those races. We're definitely seeing the manifestation of that right now.
So the Frenchman was now third, coming around the buoy, and the Australian Gubecka seems to have moved up as well. So we'll just see what the timing device is. Not always spot on, but visibly it looks like Frenchman was down to third. We'll get the 8.2K readout fairly soon. Last one was 7.5K, but something weird has obviously happened there with Aurélie Muller because she was so dominant and she was pretty much out in front swimming her own race, and suddenly she finds herself back in the pack and not even in the top two.
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
Here she comes again.
Yeah, here she comes back on. You know, did you have could have been a goggle failure.
Right.
Could have been a goggle failure. Look at, she's wearing some Swedes.
Look at the German coming as well.
And yeah, so yeah, here comes the charge. This is going to be a crazy exciting last lap.
Yeah, isn't it just? And it's not just going to involve two. I thought we were going to break away two.
This is going to be super cool to see.
And again, just it's a 10K race, not a 5K race. Look how many are still involved in proceedings here.
Yeah, that's a fork cross right there.
So we've got the Germans now moved up into position to pounce. Muller's still there. She's got back in there. She was a little bit adrift for a second, but she's found her way back in. Grimes is in there. Bruni's in there. Gabrielashi is just off the back of that four. And then, is Van Rouwendaal anywhere? We see the cap of Gubecka, I believe. They come head on now, so we will get another time check. There'll be 8.2, which will sort a few things out. But look at this. Oh, this is an absolute scramash of bodies.
Look at that move on the outside. Again, we can't see the cap, but you could watch the movement. We talked about the getting into that position. You could see it right in the middle. How...
Well,
this is going to be a great one. It's a great one now. Yeah. It's a great one now, and it's setting itself up to be more and more so.
It's a race. It's a real race now.
Isn't that what it's all about?
Last 2K, we're inside now. So 8.2, and you can hear the referee blowing that whistle like it's going out of fashion. He's obviously knowing they're getting close together, and it's getting a bit more frantic now.
Oh, yeah. This is the point at which the refs have to both make the right call, but really keep contained and make sure they're making the right call. Nothing would be more tragic to see an errant call at this stage.
No, and obviously we have Rebecca, who's still in there on a yellow card, so she has to be very careful. Referee will not want to dispatch anybody, but you could get a winner coming from the top 12 there quite easily, even at this stage.
Right. Yeah, that's within the realm of possibility. But that tempo that's being set at the front now started to open up a bit. So in the last 200 meters or so, we've seen the tempo up, and as you expect, you hit that last lap, and there's something that goes off inside you too, right? Yeah, I know. I can see that big bright light at the end now.
Leia Boy is the most advanced of the swimmers. I think she'll be in the top 3. Well, they've got around Rouwendaal, but I don't think that's right. I'm sure it's not right. Muller, Cunha, Grimes, Beck. I don't see Van Rouwendaal in that quartet. Did you?
I don't know. Yeah, I'm wondering if there's a sort of the timing chip may have been assigned.
Yeah, we have had this issue a couple of times. So, I mean, visibly, that's not Van Rouwendaal at the front. That is the German Leonie Beck, and according to computer, she's 5th. So I think we can take that with a pinch of salt, a large pinch of salt. The Germans very obviously visibly clear. Right?
That of course is Beck, and look at the move. Look at the move. She's really grabbing that water hard in the front of her stroke. Now there come the legs. We talked about legs earlier. Here come some legs.
Now, bear in mind, Mike, we are between the Italians on the right and the Germans on the left here, so somebody's going to get very excited very soon.
Then that will be exciting, and you can see our friend Luca from Italy over there getting pretty excited about this. So
yeah. Well, Gabriella, she is still in the mix. Well, I think we can ignore the 8.2K because I think it's some errant information on there. It certainly isn't Van Rouwendaal at the front. It most certainly is Beck at the front, and that is she. And, well, she thinks 8K is about the right time with 2 more kilometers to go to start to make a move. You can see the stroke rate. You can see how much, there wasn't so much wash before. And you can always tell when the shoulders start to roll a bit more, they're putting more effort in.
Absolutely. The stroke rate and legs, those are the ones that speak volumes.
Yeah, well, she is going for this big time. Now, that's obviously a close-up, so we don't know how far away the others are just yet, but well, nobody in the picture yet.
She's charging.
Boy, is she.
And there's Cunha. Look at Cunha. Bam, look at that.
Well, still 4 right behind. So German hasn't got it secured yet. And there's still Muller, there's still Cunha, still Grimes. And there probably is Van Rouwendaal somewhere in there, but not right at the front of the pace. Is that the Netherlands cap at the back of Van Rouwendaal? I think it is. But Beck is at the front now. She knows. Oh, what would it be like? Because she'll be aware, I'm sure. She won't look back, but she'll know that Cunha's probably breathing down her neck to go, oh, my God, I had this race won, and there's Anna Cunha right on my feet.
And that's one of the things you want to do. You want to get in the head of your competitor. And if you can, you can. But these veterans, they kind of prep for these different scenarios. And undoubtedly, she's ready for it. I will say Muller and Grimes, as you look back, if they can kind of stay in there, their strokes looked, they looked a lot more calm, which would tell us that if it does come down to that final push, would they have more energy to give to this?
There's Van Rouwendaal, so she is right there in the mix, but she wasn't the leader as informed to us by the computer. But the German is out in front, but the Brazilian is not far behind, nor is the American. And then there's a chasing pack, which involves Moisha Johnson now has moved up, actually. That's the top Australian. Moisha Johnson's actually made it into that top 6.
Yeah, it's interesting to see Johnson make the way up. And so just watching what they need to stay with the lead 2 right now. They definitely can't let much more get away from them. It's you want that differential open up at all.
Well, there's going to be 1.2K when we get the next time check. which hopefully will be a bit more accurate, and we'll see what the lead is. Well, visibly, it's not huge. But
it's not, and it looked like Muller was closing it up just a bit in that last overhead shot.
Well, there is Cunha.
Power.
Yeah.
Power.
Absolute power.
Really impressive.
And then, who do we get? We get the American, and we get the French woman. So Muller is still there. So too is Van Rouwendaal. Is that closest to us? Yes, it is.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, so Van Rouwendaal is in that little sector of 3. But you've got 2 out in front, and then you've got 3. So I tell you what's going to be the battle here potentially. It's a battle for the bronze because there's so many who are still in the shake-up for it.
Well, yeah, and Beck is just unrelenting out there right now.
Now, it's a question of, you hear in a lot of sports, people say, has she gone too soon? But it looks like this is exactly how she planned it, exactly the way that she wants to swim it. And, you know, she'll take on Cunha and hope she can out-sprint her.
Oh, and you see what's going to happen here, too. There's going to be an overtake on some of the lag swimmers here pretty soon. So...
And they have to drop out once they're lapped, don't they?
I don't know. I don't know the official ruling on that one. I know there's a time on the course, and I think it might be 30 minutes after the...
I think it was 15 on the
15 on the earlier races.
Yeah.
I think it may open up a bit.
Well, let's see what our leader...
So Beck went a little on the outside.
Yeah, I noticed that.
So she's having to close it up. So, you know, geometry tells us that
she's
got a little bit, just a missed sight, like I talked about earlier.
So that's not what she intended to do, then.
Yeah, you wouldn't necessarily. Again, we can't completely be sure of that because we don't have a perfect angle on it. But, yeah, sometimes, as I mentioned, when you're out there, you think, from our perspective, they seem like they're just giant buies, but you get out there on the water, they're like jelly beans.
Yeah, well, they're bouncing off them, most certainly, and 8.8K, it is Beck. I think this one is the proper readout this time. Beck from Cunha, from Muller, from Van Rouwendaal, from Johnson, from Grimes, and Gabriela from De Valdez, and Boy from Rosa. And our defending champion put a bit of a burst in, but she's now slipping back again to 21st. So, well, she got into the top 10 for a bit, or actually got to 11th, and now she's back in 21st. So I think it's bye-bye Jinjin this time.
To be generous, you can say if you're at 7 and above right now, you're kind of maybe can play, but that's to be generous. We're really looking at the 5, I think.
It probably is that way. Beck, Cunha, Muller, Van Rouwendaal, and Moisha Johnson. What a great late burst she's put in, because I think it's the first time that I've actually really mentioned her. She's not been in that front pack for a while, but she's now moved into contention. Yeah,
that's a hallmark right there. When you start to hear a name you haven't been talking about for a while, you're like, okay, that's a person that was playing it in the pack and has an advantage, quite frankly, if you can get to that sweet spot at this stage of the race.
Now look how tight it is between 1 and 2 now, and Cunha's looking to make her move.
Yeah.
There she goes.
Look at that.
There she goes. Comes flying past. Beck looks up and goes, what was that?
Yeah.
What was that howitzer that just came past me? That was absolutely, she just flew past her.
She is, and it wasn't, from at least from the perspective we see now, it doesn't look like it was a sort of a matter of, hey, okay, I know where this thing is going to go. I got to brace myself now. I kind of thought maybe I might hold it. This just looks like Cunha saying, I want to really just have complete domination here. But Beck, again, she's clearly there, and she's in that sweet spot.
Yeah, but
look at that power.
That's what I mean. When you see her go to the front, you just think, is there anybody in this field who can live with her, with the power that she has?
I mean, look how she's one of the lag swimmers there. It's like, just look like she's standing still, but which is not to be, I don't want to diminish that lag swimmer. Anybody out there doing this today, I tip my hat to him. But Cunha right now, wow. That is so beautiful and so powerful.
Well, she won the 5K the other day. Is it going to be a 5K and 10K double? And indeed, could it be a 5K, 10K, and 25K triple?
Yeah, a trifecta like that. Wouldn't that be great?
She's got that race to come tomorrow, but she's got to win this one first. And look at that. Now, roles reverse now because Beck is on her feet, right?
Yes.
Look at that.
So you see how, Beck's, she doesn't want to get any, infraction for touching. So you see her stroke widens up. She's actually side, left, right on her feet.
Well, so just clarify that rule. If you persistently put your hands on the feet of the swimmer in front, then the referee's going to go, you shouldn't be doing that.
No, well, yeah, they may start to call you for, start to get those whistles, and you just kind of want to play it as clean as you possibly can at this stage. But you're going to get the whistle when there's some grabbing and things of that nature. But you don't want that to be interpreted, right? You don't want a referee to have a perspective that's really not there and look at that and say, oh, I interpret that as a grab, when in fact it was absolutely just an incidental touch.
Yeah, that's why they have to be careful. Obviously, once they've issued the yellow card as well, they have to be very careful about the follow-up. But I'm just looking at that field and thinking, right, who actually could potentially overwhelm or overhaul her? And of that chasing group, I'm thinking Muller's probably the only one I might even give an outside chance to.
Yeah, the closing speed that's going to take right now is because you just don't. There's just really no indication, and it's really a lot of it's a feeling and the energy that we can both see right now on the monitors. Given the, we of course have the luxury of being able to see multiple angles and see a boat on the horizon, but that is just not dominance. It looks like it's going to crack.
Well, if you look at the last sector, and it was a lead for Beck over Cunha of just over a second, now it's a 3-second advantage for Cunha over Beck.
Right.
That switched. Even though on the computer it still says Beck's leading. Sorry about that. You can see with your own eyes and hear us describe it that it is Cunha. And the German is desperately trying to hold with her. Van Rouwendaal, according to the computer, is third. Grimes, then Andre, then Muller. Well, Muller isn't making any progress at all, even though she's in that pack. Boy, Gabrieleshi, Olash, Gobeka, De Valdez, that is the top 11. Then Johnson is 12. Here's another feeding station, is it?
Yeah, that's the outside feeding station. Listen to the energy out there.
How great. Coming from.
How great. Look at that. Look at the Germans. That's wonderful. Oh, they're so fired up. This is exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah, they want to just infuse a little energy out there from the dock. That was.
And if you look down below us, the Brazilian flag is starting to fly as well. They're getting ready.
Yeah, this is going to be an exciting one. I'm gonna stay with you a bit longer, but
okay. I don't want you to miss any good shots.
No,
boy.
I'm not going to miss that one. We still got time. This is kind of fun to get both tastes here. Be able to watch this.
We're very grateful you joined us to give us the insight as well, and it's good to have your company. So. It's looking like, at the moment, though, there is still just under 1K to go. Quite a bit less than 1K now. It looks like Cunha has the front now. Can she hold on to the front? That's the big question. Can Beck find anything? Can Van Rouwendaal? We know, again, she has endurance. Does she have the speed? And again, another pool swimmer who's converted to open water. So she does, or has done, 800 freestyle and 15. She didn't do it here, but she has done it in the past. And Grimes, who was right up there for a while, just slipped to fourth. But as I say, the top 5, 6, 7 seconds.
But when we go back to that 3 across, it really, they're just, if they had anything advantage, it's going to come at the end, but they really have to kind of move on it. We'll see on the next turn buoy. That's really going to be telltale if anybody can slip in and kind of get, because at that point you got to at least be bunching together. It's just not possible if you wait much longer than that.
Yeah, I go back to what I said. I think the real battle is going to be for third here.
Yeah. I'm not trying to forecast that any in the 3 across is going to be able to give that to us, but. Yeah, you can see it. Look, we've been talking about it.
That's a swimmer being lapped, by the way. That's not swimmers involved. So I think she's going to get hauled out by the looks of things. Almost certain that when you get lapped, that's kind of it for you.
Okay.
But we'll see whether that is the case. That's what I was informed. We'll keep a look and see how strong. Well, we know how strong, how dominant. kind of know how dominant Ana Cunha is when she comes into that position, and just how quick they are. Those at the back of the pack are now going to be lapped. So they've still got another circuit to go if they're allowed to do it. I don't think they're going to be allowed to do it. And that's the shot of them coming past us with, yeah, just over, probably about 600 meters to go now, I reckon, towards the end. And the pattern at the front has not changed for a while. Still Cunha from Beck, but is anybody ready to make a move of the 3, 4, and 5? That's the question. And if so, does it have to be now?
It kind of, every stroke it has to be more now. You see every stroke transpire, it's kind of getting closer to more and more now. Like I said, it's really going to be a telltale once we come around that that final turn buoy that they're going to make out here.
Now the interesting thing is we did talk about the winning time last time being 1:54. We're at 1:57 here.
Yeah. Well, that was a pretty gentle first half of the race for sure, and we saw that it kind of, there's some give and take in that 5 to 7K range.
So it's not going to be a quick time compared to what it was in South Korea 3 years ago, but it's, in a lot of ways it's a better race, I think. Though has the race in effect ended because Cunha is dominating at the front. Beck is hanging on second place, and look at the scrap for third. Van Rouwendaal's in there, Grimes, Andre, Muller, Boy. They're all in that chasing pack. The top two have separated themselves out. Just a little bit, our leader has, but then you can see Van Rouwendaal is in there.
Yeah, Van Rouwendaal, you just saw the, she looked like she was kind of making a move up top there.
Well, as I say, we know as a 25K swimmer, she's not going to worry about what happens at the back end of the race because she can keep going if needs be. That swimmer's going to move over. That swimmer's going to have to move over because she's going to get in the way of this race otherwise.
Yeah, she, of course, doesn't know what's coming up behind her.
No, but that's not a good place for her to be right now, coming around the buoy, because she's potentially going to get hit.
Yeah. Get an overhead shot, we'll be able to see kind of how that transpires. But yeah, that's it. That was the turn. This is the turn where something has to happen.
Well, they'll know when they come around now that this is it. Basically, there is no going back. Everything is forward now for the last bit.
What do we have going on here?
Well, it must be involving.
Is that Beck? That must be Beck. See how she's taking that top line?
Yeah, exactly, right. So, well, it's a sprint now, isn't it? This is, you can almost equate this with the pool.
Yeah,
look at this. Wow, is she going for this? Is she going for this? Leonie Beck, right, she obviously decided the buoy was the time to move. Now, trying to cover that move is Cunha. This is now a straight sprint between the German and the Brazilian for 1 and 2. Forget about everybody else for 1 and 2. They can battle it out for third place. This is now a straight head-to-head between Leonie Beck of Germany and Ana Marcela Cunha of Brazil. Wow, that was a burst of speed. We saw a burst of speed from Cunha, and then Beck has pretty much replicated that. And don't disregard what's happening behind either, with the possibility of Muller getting back into the mix as well. That's a foreshortened angle, but Muller's coming back now as well. So it's Beck, Cunha, and I did say Muller's got a great finish, and Muller has, and that's Van Rouwendaal. Van Rouwendaal coming back into the top of your picture. Van Rouwendaal fancies a piece of the action too now. So we have closest to the picture, we have Beck. In the middle, it's Cunha. Van Rouwendaal is coming right alongside. So this is not the head-to-head we thought. It's going to be 3 swimmers involved in the conclusion of this, and Leonie Beck, what a terrific sprint off the buoy. She just went for broke. Has she broken the back of the field? They'll be coming into our sight very soon. Last few hundred meters, and Leonie Beck of Germany finished top 10 last time. She may well be the winner this time, but Cunha's not finished yet. Cunha's coming back at her, alongside her. She saved something for the run-in. It is now looking like a head-to-head between Cunha and Beck. Van Rouwendaal put a great burst in. What a finish. Remember, we've already had 2 hours of racing. It's coming down to Beck, to Cunha, and Van Rouwendaal's coming back as well. 3 of them, 3 swimmers, all going for the medals. Gold, silver, and bronze is going to come to this 3, but which way is he going to go? Van Rouwendaal now putting a burst in. Beck on the far side. All 3 in a line. Virtually there, but not quite there. We've had different leaders for the last 200 meters. Van Rouwendaal is closest to the shore. In the middle, it's the Brazilian and the German closest to us. This is going to be mighty, mighty tight. Who's going to get their hands on the finishing pad first? Is it Van Rouwendaal on the far side? I think so. I think it's gone to the Dutch woman. Van Rouwendaal, Cunha and Beck all in together. But the 25K specialist may well be the 10K victor. Van Rouwendaal, Cunha and Beck, what a finish that was. Well, so tight. It's gone to a photo, but I think Van Rouwendaal, closest to us, just, and I mean just, got to the touchpad in time. And they're finishing off behind. We'll wait and see whether it's Beck or Cunha for second. That was equally tight. But we think Beck maybe for the silver and Cunha for the bronze, which is 2 places better than she went last time. But Van Rouwendaal, I did mention she's got a great finish, and she wasn't really in the mix until that last couple of 100 meters. We're all talking about the massive burst that Leonie Beck put in, and then out of nowhere, pretty much, came Van Rouwendaal. Astonishing, astonishing finish. Mike has joined me. Have you got any voice left? Have you got any half left after running back?
Oh my. What the perspective that I just saw.
Tell me what you're looking, because you were down. You were down on the pontoon.
When I saw Van Rouwendaal just crushing on the inside, I was like, I just couldn't believe it. I just couldn't believe it.
That was an astonishing. Well, there were 2 astonishing things about that. Before you just let me, obviously coming around the buoy, how Beck just found another gear and pulled away, and then Cunha matched her, and then suddenly out of nowhere comes the Dutch woman. We talk about the Flying Dutch woman. Boy, does she fly.
I'm shooting the camera at 30 frames a second. I think my mind is in 30 frames a second going, okay, it's going to be Cunha. It's going to be Beck. And then I'm like, here comes Van Rouwendaal. No.
Boy.
Like,
I mean, you had a better position than me. I mean, obviously there's a photo for this. But there's a photo for the winner. But is there any doubt there's Van Rouwendaal?
I don't know. I truly, truly don't know. Just because the perspective it's got to be just so exact. All I can say is what a great day for an open water race. That was beautiful.
Well, the men have got something to follow after that, haven't they?
Yo, I'll tell you, don't they?
Oh, unbelievable finish. I mean, we thought it was going to be a head-to-head. When you left me, it was a head-to-head. It was Cunha and it was Beck. You know, we weren't even talking about anybody else.
We've been sitting here for a while saying, oh, Cunha, Cunha, Cunha. And then all of a sudden, Beck. And when I walked away, I was like, well, it'll just be 1 or 2.
Yeah. Well, that's how it looked. I'll go coming around that buoy. And then, as you pointed out, Beck just went for broke and went like the wind. And we're thinking, right, maybe it's her now. But it's got to be between these 2. And then suddenly, as if by magic, and it was a magical swim, Van Rouwendaal. So we'll wait for that photo, but we think it's Van Rouwendaal.
My photo doesn't count. Okay, this is not.
Your camera never lies, right?
Yeah, but Van Rouwendaal, she may have got it from what I'm seeing here, but wow, what an amazing.
Well,
look at this.
Let's look at the replay. Take us through this. Go on.
So, you know, at this point, you're looking at this and kind of saying, okay, there goes. That was back, and then it's Cunha. And at this point, your mind is just go, okay, here we go. We're going to be able to. Oh,
get out of the way, Mr. Portugal. Right.
Yep.
There's the
There
hand.
it is.
Yay.
Yep. Okay.
German second and Brazilian third. Yeah. I think from that picture's pretty conclusive, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Van Rouwendaal, Beck and Cunha, and it is, I think, confirmed. It is.
Yep.
It has now been confirmed on our screen that Sharon Van Rouwendaal is the gold medalist, and she never led in that race at any point until the last 100 meters.
And that's all that matters.
So you swim 4.9K, or so in this case 9.9K, and then you go, I'll take over from here. Thank you.
And that's
amazing,
the sort of the beauty and the pain of sport, you know, and as that plays out over 10K, you know. Gee,
Well, you can come again if we have races like this. I'll tell you, you're bringing a bit of stardust to this this event. That is fantastic. I am absolutely gobsmacked on that finish from Van Rouwendaal because, you know, we were talking about it quite a few times, and I did say in my commentary, she's got the finish and just 25K, so she won't worry about the endurance. But I didn't have her down as a winner at that stage, I've got to be honest.
You see Grimes talking to her coach, Ron Aiken. Kind of going over what transpired out there.
She finished fifth, by the way,
yeah.
and Muller was fourth.
You know, they're all going through this joy and debriefing period now, making their way to the platform.
Yeah, and that's no, it's not a defending champion. Where did our defending champion finish after all of that? I need to look down and see where she was. She's not on the front page. Gabriella, she fell away quite badly to 14th in the end. Bruni, so the two Italians who we thought might actually get a medal or maybe two medals, and yeah, 24th for our defending champion, 24th. So she came in 2:06.48. So she was 4 minutes behind. Is that right? 2:06. Yeah, she was 4 minutes. So she definitely fell away at the end. I was double checking it, but she came in at 2:06, so it was one in 2:02. So, wow.
You know, you asked earlier what my thoughts were on the progression of open water, and I think this is yet a beautiful indicator. You know, we've had 20 years. They've had programs we've been able to see it. Oh, here we go again.
Does that finish again? I could watch this on a loop.
I could too.
Wow. And every time you look at it, you think it's going to be a different winner. Like,
I know.
It's like one of those.
And then
those
watch this.
We'll
see it full speed here.
Yeah. Right. So.
Oh no.
Bang bang.
Oh, we see it full speed, but yeah.
And yeah, with the naked eye, I thought Van Rouwendaal, but obviously they have to check these things to make sure. And that is terrific.
That
Absolute. And. Oh, she'll celebrate like there's no tomorrow. And again, we're talking about doubles. She's got the 25K to come.
Probably, yes, absolutely. But what your statement about you know, the 10 being a bit more competitive, being it's an Olympic event, and perhaps people a little bit more ramped up for it. And again, you know, she's clearly suited for that because she did win that comfortably, and. It's shorter, and you can that strategy that she employs later on, where it's just go, go, go. You can do that more in a 5K.
Saw quite a few yellow cards today, didn't we? We saw only one in the 5, and I think we saw 4 in this one, by the looks of things. We saw a lot of, or heard a lot of whistle being blown by the referee, who was unhappy about a few things. Nobody fortunately got a red. You don't want to see somebody dispatched, certainly late in the race.
No, that would be. That'd be a bummer.
That's pretty mild.
And when you're thinking about, oh man, I'm so bummed.
I've just done 9K. And what?
I know. Really? Come on. Let me go. Just if I'm not going to win, just let me go.
Yeah.
Let me just make it.
Yeah,
but if you're in that lead position, then it's, you know, geez, so much was at stake.
Yeah, here come the bat. No, so she's been very clever. She's taken a violin with her, not kept it in the sun. The guy who's playing the double bass is going to get a bit of a shock when he picks it up, because it's going to be red hot.
Oh, let's just watch him for fun here.
Yeah, I think he always got.
Oh, watch this. He sits.
He's got his bow. Oh, the guy, yes.
Oh, he's staying with it. He is staying with it.
Well, he does have.
I know he's still staying with it. I would think he just sat on him. Here we go.
He has long trousers on, so he's okay. He's not going to get hot in that area.
They're cued, and looks like they're about to play those first notes.
Mm-hmm. Once they take the PA music off, of course. They're ready. Cue the orchestra. No, don't cue the orchestra. Right, now we are ready. They are ready. Swimmers are just about prepared to come onto the sand, leading to the platform for the victory ceremony. Led out by our gold medalist, followed by our bronze medalist. And our silver medalist is just going ahead. I was looking for three of them together, but you got the gold and bronze medalist together, and the silver medalist is just a bit further ahead. But they're chatted away. And Cunha does have a reasonable grasp of English. I think a lot of people think she just speaks Portuguese, but she does have quite a grasp of English. And she'll step onto that bronze medal step as they get ready to be introduced one by one, obviously in reverse order. So she was gold medalist the other day in the 5K, and looked like she might be the gold medalist in the 10K, but wasn't quite to be on the day. There's our presentation party.
Olympic champion Hungarian.
Eva Ristov, well, she is a legend in this country, one of the Hungarian Olympic swimmers. And she'll enjoy this moment.
Oh, beautiful moment for the country.
Probably not as much as Sharon will enjoy this moment, though.
Marcela Cunha.
So, Cunha, bronze today, gold the other day, still 25K to come. And she'll be in that mix for certain. Whether she can beat Van Rouwendaal, we'll have to wait and see.
One of the true greats. True greats. Rock star of the sport.
And there was a moment when she came around that final buoy where we thought, boy, is she going? And she did. And we're thinking maybe, just maybe, it's gold for Germany. But after that bronze for Anna Marcela Cunha, it's the silver for Leonie Beck of Germany. Gets a great response from the German contingent, away to my left. But I can see the Dutch appearing in numbers now. I knew they'd be around. Couldn't see them, but they're down there.
There they are.
So they'll give a huge cheer. And say Dutch TV are probably showing this live. They're certainly down on the beach as she gets ready. She's had a good 35, 40 minutes to think about this. And here comes the moment for Sharon Van Rouwendaal.
Representing the Netherlands.
What a swim, what a finish, what a race. And she is the world champion. Going to another world champion for a hug.
Oh, look at the respect they all have for one another. That's really fantastic.
Well, she's used to this moment, and she will become one of the all-time greats if she's not already. Terrific stuff. And she made that race quite special. Sharon Van Rouwendaal is the world champion over 10K.